Greetings, fellow Amblemites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Santa Claus.
And Gabby.
And Jacob Wile, too.
And welcome to the second season of Spielberg Month on the Main Street Cinema, the show where we discuss the finer points of filmmaking. Since Steven Spielberg does not do commentaries on his own films, we've decided to do the heavy lifting and uncover the hidden secrets hidden within 5 of his most memorable movies. From Mashed Potatoes to Jeff Goldblum, from Premonitions to Big Friendly Giants. Batten down the hatches as we dive into another installment of Spielberg Month. And this time we're talking about, by far the most recent installment of Spielberg Month, the most recent film that we've done in the chronology of Spielberg Month so far. Last year, 2016's the BFG. Da, 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 da. All right, that's all I got. That's all I got. That was beautiful.
Yes.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, the BFG, guys, this was actually my favorite movie of the first half of 2016. And I think we were kind of talking off air about other Disney movies that got screwed over by the marketing. I think this is one of them because it's I don't understand I don't understand what happened with this movie because it's Spielberg. It's the first time he's worked with Disney. It's like a lifelong collaboration that Spielberg's wanted to do. And guys, the marketing for this movie was just not there. There were very little trailers. They didn't push the marketing. I can tell you firsthand that at California Adventure, they had Through the Looking Glass playing previews in either the It's Tough to Be a Bug Theater or the Muppet Vision Theater. And this did not have any previews in California Adventure. And yet last year they were pushing Through the Looking Glass. All right?
That was a guaranteed flop.
I just want to emphasize that. Big Friendly Giant, which is the first collaboration between Spielberg and Disney, and an adaptation of a beloved book, and kind of in the beloved Spielberg kid befriending a weird creature, versus Through Looking Glass. All right, that's all I gotta say. That's my opening pitch here, people. I just think this movie, it's definitely got its flaws. It's not a perfect Spielberg movie, but I think it's a very whimsical Spielberg movie, and I think it's a Spielberg movie that very much is a great flow of visuals and music and storytelling in the best kind of way. I think this is sort of a return to form in terms of combining the memorable John Williams score with the great visuals specifically. I think this is a very fantastical movie for Spielberg, and it's kind of what he needed after after the past few Spielberg films we've gotten War Horse and Lincoln and Bridge of Spies, just these very, I'm sure they're all good movies in their own way, but they're very dry, sort of historical epics. And the BFG is just sort of a beloved, light and fanciful. And I don't know, this movie really did strike a chord with me, and it was number 1 on my 2016 rankings for quite a while. So I like this film quite a bit, and I'm here to defend it. All right. So you guys want to go? I think this is kind of a divisive film, so I think it'd actually be helpful if we went roundtable and gave our thoughts on it, just to know where we're all coming in.
All right, I can go next.
Okay, go ahead, Jacob.
I'm not sure about it. I actually saw it in theaters as well. And I could actually speak for the fact that it didn't get a lot of marketing because I was one of actually only a few people in the theater when I went to see it. Well, then it was also early in the morning, also early in the day, but still. So usually at the time I would, not a lot of people are seeing movies anyway. So. It was in the middle of the week too, so that didn't help either.
Yeah.
I was to say I went in I know of Roald Dahl's work. I don't think I've ever read the BFG, but I do know of his work, and I'm a big fan of several of his adaptations and everything. And I'm obviously a big fan of Spielberg and Disney, so I was excited to see how it turned. And I must say I was quite thoroughly impressed. I will admit, I will agree to some of those flaws, but Like, it was a perfectly fun, whimsical movie. It was just fun and a perfect marriage between what you'd expect from Spielberg and Disney and Roald Dahl.
No one wants to talk.
I'm done.
Okay, I'll go next. I was not a big fan of the movie just because it seemed a little all over the place for me at first. And I watched it for a good 30 minutes before. I mean, I watched the whole thing, but I watched it for a good 30 minutes before I just came with the conclusion that it was just a little too odd for me. And like I said before, I've never read the book, so I guess I wouldn't really know how to compare and contrast and whatnot. But it was just a little too weird for me, a little too whimsical for me, a little too fantasy kind of deal. And there were some parts that seemed a little too, they tried to be funny and cute, but it didn't catch my attention. So.
All right, that's fair, and I'm glad we have you, Gabby, because it's never fun to, like, on the Minority Report, we were just like, yeah, this is a pretty good movie. Pretty good movie. The last 20 minutes aren't great, but it's pretty good.
You need my bitterness and my
we need a variety of opinions, Gabby. That's what we need, and you provide that.
And plus,
thank
and for Minority Report, it really didn't help that Tiki and I were borderline asleep within the last few minutes.
I wasn't asleep. I was just like, I don't even want to talk about it, man. I was just like kind of like anxious, and I didn't really have a lot to say because, yeah, the Minority Report is a great movie until the last 20 minutes. And when you get to the last 20 minutes, it's like, yep, this isn't great. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Sandy.
My thoughts on this movie. I'm kind of on the same page where Gabby is because I feel that it just wasn't grounded enough. It was just, it felt felt, yeah, as she said, it felt too whimsical. It didn't have, there was just something it was missing, and it didn't feel very, I don't know. It just didn't do much for myself, and it relies really, really, really heavily on CGI. Which if, when I'm watching a movie, the CGI, it's everywhere in movies today. So you got to expect when you're going into seeing, and you got to expect when you're going to the movie theater or whatever. But
agreed.
It's just there is so much in this movie, and Steven, his movies back in the day, Raiders, Close Encounters, E.T., they're all practical. So I mean, yeah, he just didn't really pull out of the bag as well as I thought he could have.
See, and I kind of agree in the sense of CGI. I mean, if it's a full CGI movie, then that's fine. But I have never, even with the Star Wars Rogue One movie, I've never been a fan of just live action movie with CGI. I can't do it. It's a big turnoff.
How do you feel about Jon Favreau's Lion King?
Oh God, I'm worried. I'm actually super nervous with how much exactly they're changing with the whole movie, because Lion King was my sister's and one of our favorite movies as a kid.
It was the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
What year was it? 96?
94, I think.
It was 94. Okay, so
I was like 3.5 years old.
My sister and I weren't even alive.
Yeah, right.
By the time my sister was like 3 or 4, that's the only movie she would ever watch. And I mean, it's still a pretty big thing of ours, but I'm worried, just to be blunt. I'm actually pretty worried.
All right. Well, Dragon, break the tie and then lead us into some background, dear sir.
All right, well, just briefly on the whole, my nostalgia really was less from the book. It was more from the animated film in 1989. I remember watching it in school when I was really young. It was just, they had put on, I think it was like, when they showed movies in the library, I think that's when I watched it. They turn on the lights, they have the movie on like the little AV card, and they just kind of
play. A rainy day movie, shall we say?
Yeah, but it was like when they made like a trip to the library, like they're trying to sell you on the library. It's like
right
sales pitch, You go in there, it's like, hey, it's like kind of like, hey, we don't have to go into class. We get to cook. It's like
first one's free, kids.
Yes, I was thinking more along the lines of kind of a really cheap field trip, but okay.
All right.
But Well, regardless, I mean, it did kind of get me interested in books. Not just that, like, it wasn't like the very first thing. I'm just saying, all those little trips to the library, they kind of added up. Like, yeah, it's kind of fun to go to the library.
Scholastic book fairs.
Well, of course, then that was the big. Of course, Tiki and I've been down there. I've been down that rabbit hole so many times. It's.
We need to do a proper video about that at some point, like an edited retrospective video.
Right.
Do some research.
But anyway, the point is, just briefly, so that was my introduction to the BFG, and I was really, I always remembered it for that reason. For the longest time, I remembered it, but I never looked into it beyond the animated film. And then years go by, and I always have in the back of my occasionally, I lose it, and I remember, oh yeah, it's just 3 letters, BFG. Okay, that's what it is. Sometimes just be big, friendly giant, sometimes BFG, and regardless, it's always been in the back of my mind. And when this, I remember seeing the trailer for this film, seeing I guess maybe it might have been late 2015, but when did it come out in 2016? You guys remember?
It came out in around this time, like the last week of June of 2016.
Either way, I mean, it was either early
like
2016.
June 20th, something around there.
That was probably early 2016. They had like a teaser. I remember the teaser. I remember the first trailer. The teaser like kind of reminded me so much of it. Like, oh yeah, it's essentially that's the opening of the movie there. And then I'll admit, after that, I was a little worried because I was figuring, oh wait, I remember the BFG. They have an animated movie and they have a book. They don't really need to do it again. And so I was really nervous. And then they announced Spielberg. Oh, they just found an excuse to work with Spielberg. That's why they're doing this. So I was a little hesitant in the very beginning.
It was released the 1st of July, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Right. Anyway, so then by the time honestly after all these years, I kind of, because it was really focused on the movie. It never came across my mind that Roald Dahl wrote the book. I never really knew that until really late in life. Because they really looked into it, because you know the story and you kind of know the gist of it like the back of your hand. So you don't really need to kind of go back, so to speak. Anyways, that's going into this movie. That was the barometer I was holding it to. And then after I saw the movie, I watched the anime movie to kind of see how it measured up, and surprisingly well. So seeing this movie just on the whole, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. Again, I was like fearing it was going to be a Disney forcing a movie. It's like, oh boy, they're really just they're digging in the well now, Spielberg. But no, it was better than I expected. All right. Speaking of which, so how did we get this movie? I'll tell you how we got this movie. So in 1982, famed writer Roald Dahl.
Sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Yes. So, in 82, famed writer Roald Dahl, who we all know for other works such as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, which, by the way, the James and the Giant Peach, actors from James and the Giant Peach, the movie, have keep showing up in the Spielberg films we've been talking about this month.
Does one show up in this movie?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, the previous films we've had.
The last three, yes.
I mean, we've had 2 trends in the last couple movies. We've had Seinfeld actors in all 3, and we've had at least 2 James and the Giant Peach actors.
Right,
Richard
it's Seinfeld actors, yeah.
Yeah, Dreyfuss and the guy who played, the guy who gave Charlie the weird kind of bioluminescent cricket things. Anyway, so Roland from the Lost World, it's the actor. Anyway, so also, of course, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which everyone remembers from recent years. So the point is, Roald Dahl stuff has always been famous for, it's kind of breaking out. I was watching some stuff on Dahl, and it kind of occurred to me, in the majority of his works, they're really about his boyhood in many ways. They're about like him as a kind of a rambunctious kid, having not a lot of respect for authority figures. And essentially, I got to remember in England, especially for kids way back in the day, of course, you step out of line, you really, you feel the ruler or whatever, they're going to hit the kid with the cane sometimes. Usually it was the cane. And basically, in the recurring theme in the Dahl stories are like, it's about finding whimsy and fun in these really grim circumstances. And unfortunately for Dahl, I mean, this is the fascinating thing about looking into. Later in life, we had a family. He really got the brunt of it. His life kind of reflected finding whimsy in dark circumstances, because he had again, he was mischievous as a boy, which is why he has the anti-authority thing. He's his children became sick at a certain point, but here's the kind of where the lightness kind of comes by in trying to help his son. He had like a cerebral spinal thing going on. He actually devised a method that helped a whole lot of other kids. Basically, he kind of invented a device. He knew an inventor, and they kind of found out something that would kind of help, kind of aid in surgeries to fix cerebral spinal stuff. And just another one that kind of relates to directly the BFG thing, because again, he had a lot of stuff going on. Of course, he knew Ian Fleming. He was a spy along with Ian Fleming in the war.
Right.
Really interesting life, but
And that led to Gremlins, actually.
yes, the Disney version, yes.
Right.
So again, he's had like a long string of very interesting things happen in his life. But getting us back to BFG, how this all relates to is that actually his wife was a known actress. Patricia Neal, if I'm remembering that correctly, and she had a series of strokes, but she did recover, and over time, as she recovered, in the recovery, they had like lots of therapy, and not only speech therapy, but other sorts of therapy, and basically her words came out very jumbled, and that jumbling of words, he basically kind of took note of that, and he wrote them all down. He read through them, and that inspired the BFG, how he spoke. Mm-hmm. The bizarre jumbling of words, kind of the mixed messages coming out there. So that's what really kind of.
And I just want to say that's one of the things that the movie gets spot on is the BFG's dialect.
Absolutely,
I think that's one of the most impressive things about the movie for me.
Oh yeah. So then, just to boil down, how we get to the movie. So again, 89, we have the animated film by Cosgrove Hall Animation. No, not Freakazoid Cosgrove, just Cosgrove Hall. That is an Amblin property, though. So we have Cosgrove Hall. Cosgrove Hall's movie in '89, which, by the way, big thing to note. Dahl loved that film way more than Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He really.
Oh, he did. He actively disliked Willy. Willy Wonka was kind of like his shining.
Yeah, but he went into the screening of the '89 film. He was like standing up and clapping. He loved it that much, and
it was easily the the Roald Dahl adaptation in his lifetime that he liked the most, for sure.
Certainly, because Gemmer, he was involved in Willy Wonka, and basically his ideas weren't fully heard because they went more like the charming direction Willy Wonka. Of course, they changed the name of the book, which obviously isn't going to win any points with anyone. Mm-hmm. For very silly reasons, by the way, but I won't get into that. So Paramount down the line. So really shortly after the animated film was made in the history of it. So in '89 they make the animated film, but then Paramount in '91 they begin developing a live action film. So initially they were going to Robin Williams to be the Giant. They're going to Robin Williams. There was a problem, and it wasn't that he wasn't good or anything, or that he didn't like it. It was the fact that his improvisational style really just didn't jive with all the various made up jumbled words.
Right.
Basically, there was a little bit of a problem. You had to stick to the book somewhat, and you also have to anything you come up with has to be in that style. So obviously, there's a little bit of a problem there. And then basically, over the years, it fell into development heck. For many years, it just kind of was on again, off again, for many times. And unfortunately, in the process of doing that, the rights reverted back to the Dahl estate. They were supportive, but just over time, the Paramount deal fell through, and then just went back to them. Then down the line, around 2011, DreamWorks, believe it or not, acquires the rights again. DreamWorks acquires the rights, and it's really up to. It goes to the big draft that influences the movie we have today. Melissa Matheson. Melissa Matheson is the writer of E.T. and importantly for this film, Indian in the Cupboard. We all remember that film, don't we?
Yeah,
sure.
Oh yeah, Frank Osgold. But seriously, it's kind of just bring it because the shoes.
All right, Jack. If we just just get to the
right
meat and potatoes of it.
Right. Anyways, point is, so then we have a Spielberg writer, and of course, by that stretch, it goes to Spielberg himself. Spielberg's a fan of the book. He's always wanted to do a Disney film, and the thing is, many people had many hands in producing the film. Disney, through their Touchstone banner, had it. So basically, believe it or not, Disney and DreamWorks did produce this, but DreamWorks didn't get credit for it. Amblin, basically, they didn't want DreamWorks and Disney's name on it. So basically, Amblin. That's why you see Amblin to be in this movie instead of DreamWorks. And of course, after working on Bridge of Spies with Mark Rylance, they got him in this as the BFG, and
of course,
through motion capture, very impressive. One trip to Vancouver later, you have a film that we have today.
All right, folks. So this is definitely going to be an interesting commentary because we've got a lot of varied opinions. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sorry, Dragon. That's just kind of why I wanted to speed you along because I didn't want to lose the momentum of all those varied opinions. So let's get into it, folks. You can go ahead and watch with us actually on Netflix, which makes this much more convenient. Go ahead and get it synced up to timestamp 00. If you don't have Netflix on hand, that's okay. We'll try and make this an entertaining podcast anyways, and I think it naturally will be since, there's going to be some disagreement. So, all right, you guys all ready to go?
Ready, Freddy.
Mhm.
All right. The BFG in 1, 2, 3, go. Oh God. Oh God, it's buffering.
I was about to say mine is buffering
Okay, hold
too.
on. Everyone pause. Everyone pause.
I'm rewinding.
That's why I made sure mine was red.
Oh
That's why I
God.
made sure mine was red.
Oh, that was awful.
That was so fun. I knew that was gonna happen though. Anytime you leave Netflix alone, it's like, wait.
I know, right? All right, you guys got it synced up to 0, 0. Okay.
Yes.
Oh God, that was funny. Dragon, you good?
Yeah, we good to go.
Okay, yeah. All right. Take 2 in 1, 2, 3, go. There we go. Disney Castle.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first time we're seeing the Disney logo and the Amblin logo together.
And
Which
again,
we'll probably never
bizarrely,
see again.
be even more rare.
Probably not, given the reception that this movie had.
I know Spielberg himself felt about the whole thing.
I gotta tell you, it would have been kind of amazing to see DreamWorks and Disney's name on this, though. It would have been kind of mind-blowing.
I understand why they didn't go in that direction, though.
I know, it just would have been kind of like, almost like that Roger Rabbit kind of crossover in a way.
Right.
Must-
And then
Probably
we also
because,
have
like,
this
the whole-
random company.
Yes. They have really nice
Well,
logos.
we'll
I gotta
go
say,
to-
all these.
Jacob, you're desperately trying to get something in.
I just think probably because of the whole association with the animation company and all that.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Probably.
Walden, always a classic. All right.
First time they've worked with Disney since they stopped doing Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, they did Bridge to Terabithia. So I
thought
really,
that was-
really
I
like
thought
this
that was-
title card.
I'm a little bit.
Oh,
is a
no,
nice
the title
card.
card's coming up right now.
Yeah, I have Roll
Oh, yeah.
Dolls,
Yeah.
the
The-
BFG.
I just
I love
love
the
the
color.
I love the colors too, Gabby. It very much reminds me of the just a children's book illustration.
Really classy, just the Roll Dolls are starting off like that.
And I also love the toll of the bell, and just really sets the mood.
Well,
It
let
does.
me go on.
No, I was just saying, it does.
Absolutely. I love these symbols of England here. Like, we have the double-decker bus, we have Big Ben, we have kind of, the pubs,
The
the wet
pub,
streets.
yeah,
and of course,
yeah.
that, like, the old English.
If you haven't, like, essentially saying, if you haven't figured it out, we're in England.
I've heard a lot of people say that this looks like theme park England. What do you guys think of that? I've heard that comparison a lot.
It looks appealing, so I guess by that
I
logic,
know,
I guess
right,
it is theme park.
It looks like, definitely looks like old
really
England. Definitely does look like old England.
I love the lighting in these first few shots here. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Like the green paint on the walls.
Yeah, I would wager to say the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this movie is like maybe the strongest bit of the movie.
I'd say it lost me when they got back to his I guess for lack of a better word, lair. Yeah, everything up to that point I liked, but after that it was just kind of like, no. It's all right.
So we have a really nice introduction to Sophie. On the rewatch, it occurred to me that, hey, she's hiding in plain sight like the giant, like the BFG is later on. That's kind of a nice way to kind of connect them visually from the very get-go.
Yeah, good stuff here. We've got the blanket, which of course is going to be a big plot device. The John Williams score is kicking in, kind of lulling us into the environment of the film. Of course, we get the narration.
Let's give credit where credit's due. The actress that plays Sophie, I think it's Ruby Bornhill, if I'm saying that right. I think
That
she-
sounds right. Barnhill, yeah, Barnhill.
Barnhill. Yeah, she does an excellent job in this film. Very, very. But it's her first movie.
I think this is a classic case of Spielberg just knowing how to cast a kid.
Oh yeah.
This fits right in line with like classic Spielberg kid actors. That's
I
one
actually
of the
really
things I
liked
really
her.
like about this.
I
Yeah,
really liked her as a kid actress.
I wonder if, like, yeah, me too. I wonder if though, like in ET, they filmed this movie in order to like they did with ET.
Jake, the only reason I hesitate to
it wouldn't be quite the same experience, right?
It wouldn't.
mainly because
I know. I'm just saying for some kids, and for some people her age and even that age, I mean, sometimes they still film in order just to make it easier on them.
Right.
Sure.
That I highly doubt it, but it was just a thought.
So the way she treats these idiots at the pub is great because it's going to be like kind of very reminiscent of her relationship with the BFG to a certain extent.
Well, also to kind of, I thought it was like kind of a neat foreshadow to like how she's someone who you could buy that she would stand up to the other giants in a way. You kind of like she doesn't tolerate bullies. Or bullies are kind of like these people that would be a little intimidating at first.
Sure, and that's what I kind of mean when I say that. It's how she originally treats the BFG is like, she's just like, you can't keep me here. I'm gonna escape, and I'm gonna escape 10 times.
Well, I got to tell you something though. In this scene though, I just had this thought in my back of my mind when I was watching her. I thought she's like a young Haley Atwell in this scene.
Oh God, I can see it.
Yeah, you see it.
He actually could convincingly play a young Haley Atwell.
Yeah.
I mean, she almost looks like right like a young version of her.
That's what I'm saying. I was just kind of struck by that in this scene because that's Agent Carter would absolutely just kind of yell at people like that all the time in the show.
Right. Okay, so I love the shadow work in this opening scene.
Oh yeah,
I could talk about it for hours. It's so good.
This is a really nice little move here. Again, like we keep building the giant, not only with the shadows, but like the stuff here. We're playing with scale with her in the dollhouse here, and of course, what's also nice is we telegraph kind of her ending here, where she's her dream is kind of have a family and kind of a bed and just kind of like a bed to herself instead of like a little kind of orphanage cot.
Oh, you mean the ending where this in the orphanage, what we're seeing right now is a dream, and then she's going to go into a deeper dream, and then she's going to wake up from the double layer dream at the end of the movie.
Let's not run before we can walk on this theory.
All right.
There's the book, the glass, kind of setting everything up here with kind of what she's going to be armed with later on. She's got her book, the glasses, and the cover. Spielberg, another Spielberg trope, flashlights.
Oh, definitely. Another Spielberg trope I noticed a lot in the movie is the wide-eyed stare.
Yeah.
And again, we do have an anti-authority vibe, but we don't really have a lot of time. She describes it later on instead of us seeing it like we do in the animated movie. But Miss Clonkers, I believe her name is. But I do like, again, the shadow work is amazing. You're just like, you have her like a hands on her hip and kind of communicates volumes. Okay, she's like, hey, no one's.
It's great visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is what I really admire about this early section of the film. Go ahead, Ezra.
I think the flashlight and her hiding under the covers reading a book, that it just feels very Amblin-esque to me.
Oh, definitely.
The flashlight,
definitely.
yeah.
I kind of feel bad for her with the glasses, though. If anyone knows, reading with glasses, especially lying down, sucks. So it's like, it looks like her glasses are glued to her face, and I want to know what kind of glue she uses, because that'd be great.
I think it's just snot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really good to just have that authoritarian shadow and not really, because we've seen those types of characters a million times in other movies. You know what I mean? Like the mean, the mean warden type.
I mean, like Miss Trunchbull and all that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So this movie, like, I'm glad that they don't focus on that.
CGI cats.
Right?
Better than that.
All right.
Where's
I don't
reveal
know.
Here. Good reveal and scale.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I like about the effects in this movie is all the scale work.
Well, I'll say,
Yeah.
go on.
The eyes on Mark Rylance, I think, are incredible. Say what you will about the rest of the character animation, but those eyes, man, completely sell his character for me. And this is a classic example of Spielbergian sort of like horror movie directing in other genres. Like, this is very much a horror movie scene right here.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is the stuff from the teaser that gave me pause. Like, I wonder how they're going to handle this in a full movie.
And it's just pretty cool how gentle he is with that. Even like he's a gigantic, he's a giant reaching in, kidnapping someone, but he's still gentle about it.
And this is literally my favorite section of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, this is all just gold right here.
yeah, absolutely.
Like again, this is brilliant.
Nobody looked behind the curtain.
If I'm right, I think the anime film had like this weird effect on the giant where he could be translucent, so someone.
Yeah, it was basically an invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
All right, so
No, that one's definitely more convincing.
So what time period is this?
Oh, this is the 80s. It's supposed to take place in 82.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is
At least
great.
early 80s. That's where they're aiming for.
To quote the Wizard of Oz, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
That's my favorite shot in the whole movie, maybe.
The tree
The
thing?
tree?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for silhouettes and giant people.
No, but these silhouettes, I just love the in plain sight hiding space because it makes you think if you were a kid, this would have blown your mind. Oh my god, there might be.
I'm glad you bring that up, Dragon, because I think this movie is like a magical thing to show a kid. I think kids especially are going to love this movie.
Yeah, here's something. I just love how they kind of, in many ways, I'll say this movie, I think on the whole, it kind of represents the book well. I'm saying kind of, it might be like the definitive version. That's what I'm getting at here. I think it might be the definitive version because they kind of improve upon certain things we've seen in the other versions. Like the way he gets to Giant Country, it's faithful to the T what we've seen beforehand, but it has like a little added flourish to it at the very end. Like we jump through it's a little more masked when he jumps through the clouds. It's more practical.
Right.
He like runs and then jumps instead of just randomly flies.
So I really do think this scene played brilliantly when I saw it on the big screen. Yeah, because I think this is where we really start to illustrate the sense of scale. And one of the things I really appreciate about the cinematography in the movie, and yes, there is a lot of CGI involved in it, but honestly, I don't think you could have pulled it off without the CGI. What they're trying to do is essentially what they're trying to do with the cinematography is go from Sophie's perspective to the BFG's perspective in the same shot. Like we've got these long tracking shots where we go from Sophie, we zoom outward to see like into BFG and back and forth and vice versa. And I don't know about you guys, but that's just that's something that I don't think the movie gets nearly enough credit for in terms of the visuals.
Well, here's what I'm coming down to see.
Tracking shots. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Dave, you are right. The long tracking shots are very impressive. I agree with you there. But with CG, I feel I think with two of our giant characters, I think honestly it's like you can handle one giant at a time with like how great the CG looks. I just think we're in a group together. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm just saying I think it's at its best when we have like
Dragon.
What?
They look fucking awful when they're grouped together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, I'll be the first to admit that. That is like the major Achilles heel of this movie is the group of other giants. They look terrible.
It's pretty
They look
bad.
like shit.
Well, you see what I'm saying? Like when we have like our two main giant characters, though, that's when they looked at their best, right? It's like
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like when they're grouped together, obviously the quality gets a little bit more like, okay, now we're seeing some fakeness there, but like this, that they're like, you can see Mark Rylance when you look at the BFG here, and you can have like come more of a. It doesn't look exactly like Jermaine Clement later on, but again, it's just you can see like a character there, and it looks really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect CG, but I think it captures the character really well, and I honestly think it's one of my favorite uses of motion capture, to tell you the truth.
Again, I think coming out of the movie, I was most impressed with just like you look at the textures on the BFG, like on the hands and everything. It looks just very that, and again, they really don't lose sight of scale. And like for example, right here in this snaz cumber here, it looks
it's the size of Sophie.
Yeah.
And so is that giant butcher's knife axe thing.
They actually did really well with the what's the word I'm looking for?
Texture.
They made it look they made the food look realistic.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that part they totally had going for them, but like I said, like he actually does look realistic in a really odd way. But because she actually is real, it kind of makes it look like he looks more real than she does.
I can see
that's kind of and that's kind of how I took that. Yeah. So it's like even he looks more real than she does, and she's the real freaking person in this. So
that's kind of creepy to think about.
Exactly, it kept throwing me off while watching. I'm like, why? Why does he look more real than she does? It doesn't make any sense.
Now that you mentioned that, yeah, I definitely see that now. I'm not gonna be able to get that out of my head.
The production design looks really good. Like, I mean, how they work this place like this thing, but like you have like all
I
these
love
logical...
the layout of the cave. It's brilliant.
Yeah, the thing, but like they has like a telephone booth filled with nuts, because again, by with his scale, that's how he would get nuts. It's like or it might be seeds for the snow numbers.
Dragon, really quick before we pass it up. I love the moment like this. They sold this moment in the trailer where he's like, "Me, you think I'm a man goblin cannibal who's gonna eat you?" And then he gives that like little snarl. I'm like, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly like what the character's like in the book. They have the dialect down right. I think we're in good hands here.
They lost a bit. That I'm kind of glad they lost. I don't know if they did it for political reasons or not, but there's a whole stretch in the book where it's like he is talking with her, and that's kind of like how she they ease the tension where he's describing, all the reason that giants eat people, they eat human beings, is because they eat them from all around the globe, because whatever their geographical location is, that's how they must taste, like Turkish food or Italian food or
right. I know what you're going. Oh God, yeah. Oh, that was not a great joke.
But regardless, I never was crazy about it because it just sounded like it's like he's talking about eating children with a child. It doesn't really it's not really that appropriate.
No,
it's a child chewer.
Yes,
a blood bottler. Gizzard over. Those are all great.
Yes.
But as Gabby was saying, the stew just looks so practical.
Oh yeah. A lot of good food animation. In this case, a lot of bad food animation because it's supposed to be terrible.
But then later on, we basically get full-on food porn with the queen.
So oh my God! Yes, yes! I can't wait to get to that. I love that scene. We'll get beyond the food. I'm just saying I like that scene.
Yeah. It's a great scene, and one of the things that wasn't in the book that we'll get to in none of the versions is like how the hell they fit the BFG in the building. I love that they actually addressed that.
Oh God, I love it. I love his vocabulary.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what, like, I can see how it could definitely turn people off, especially people who haven't read the book. I have read the book multiple times. It's actually one of my favorite Roald Dahl books. To me, it's almost kind of like a darker and better version of Peter Pan in a way.
Well, I just recognize
it's got a lot of the same sort of themes as Peter Pan. I know that's like kind of fighting words because Gabby, I know you love Peter Pan.
I love Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Actually, but I do have a problem with the one with the little blonde child. I think his name is Zach. I have a problem with that one. Which one is that?
Are you thinking
okay.
What, a Peter Pan?
It's the 2003 Peter Pan.
Yeah.
That movie was a huge disappointment.
Was that a Finding
Neverland?
I go with the 50s Peter Pan always.
No, Finding Neverland has its own set of problems. But
oh God,
it's not the one she's talking about.
I love Finding Neverland.
Yeah, let's not go. I don't want to. As the minute said,
I just watched it the other day.
No, yeah, Finding Neverland's fun. It's just the 2003 one. I'm more for the, like I said before, Disney classics. So, yeah, for sure.
Anyway, back to the BFG. So with the with the dialogue, with all the jumbled words and everything, it instantly reminds me of Everlasting Gobstopper and Snozberries. In the dialogue, for sense
right, yeah.
The other Dahl works, and
Dahl definitely kind of had his own dialect that was very Seussian almost.
Exactly, Tiki you hit it right on the nose. It's very it's like Dahl's version of Seuss. Yes,
it's like a more refined and cultured version of Seuss.
Yes,
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of dialogue with President in his other works. I mean, Snoz.
So this ship is probably the best set in the whole movie.
Oh, Jacob, what were you saying?
Really?
You guys don't like this ship?
Wait, hold, Jacob.
Wait, I do like this ship. I thought it was very clever.
What
I was saying is like the dialect is kind of like shared between several Roald Dahl stuff, like the Snoz cumbers, like Snozberries from Willy Wonka and other things. And I know Snoz is like used as like another, like a another dirty term and another kind of book, an adult book he wrote. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can confirm that.
Yeah.
so there's so the so it's kind of shared between. So it's like so he likes the word snoz apparently. That must be like one of his favorite words that he came up with.
The Roald Dahl cinematic universe.
So this scene, well, oh, you're running with that from mine.
Yes, I'm running with that from the Philip K. Dick cinematic universe.
Anyway, well, on this scene as a whole, by the way, it's like the very beginning. We saw the giant, a very intimidating. Like, because before, of course, we just get to hear him, speak. He was like cutting things with a giant, awesome-looking kind of like shovel axe thing, butcher's knife shovel thing, and he's cutting up the giant. It's not as bad as he's putting her in a pan, and he's telling her all this stuff, and then we see he's quite the opposite as we know him to be and everything else, but we get this kind of see her kind of start to see that he's not like the rest of these guys. And of course, we're going to see that visually because he's 24 feet and the rest of them are in the 40 to 50 feet range.
That's a really another cool visual trick. Like that's actually like probably the one good thing about the giants, like when they're grouped together, is that we do have a good sense of scale between the BFG and the rest of them.
Yeah, I will say this. I think design wise, again, when we just have them all in the scene together. I'm saying when we mainly get with what was it, flesh lump eater, that guy.
Jermaine Clement's guy.
I'm sorry.
Jermaine Clement's character.
Yes, Jermaine Clement's good. Yes, when we get that guy, I think his design works a lot better than the design we have in the animated movies. I'm not sure if how much that translated from the book or not, but regardless, I like
how he has the grass as like kind of a cape.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think they're all designed well, but again, just when in concert together, when like they're moving and stuff, it's dicey.
I mean, the shot where they're introduced when they're all in shadow and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good because
less is more with the rest of them. That's the thing.
Right.
I think, honestly, a part of me, I don't know how feasible it would have been, but part of me is I would have liked to see we have our lead giant, and the rest of them are just kind of like they're there, but they're all intimidating, a little scary and giant.
And they're like so big that you never see them in full scale, kind of like Godzilla 2014, except good.
Well, I wasn't going to take the unnecessary shot at Godzilla, but yes. Now, what do you think about what the BFG does here, in basically giving her a cautionary nightmare?
I like it. I think it fits very much in the tone of what Roald Dahl would do with his stories. Kind of the cautionary tale. Sort of like a kid needs a hint of darkness. And it's almost like Don Bluthian in a way. I'm
glad you said that, T. Because I definitely see the Bluthian thing. That's what I'm really pointed out. I kind of get a vibe of might be like two themes, kind of like they're trying to exposit here that almost like in terms of parenting, like how you would bring up a child, like either scare the children to protect them, which is what we're seeing the BFG do here, versus what the BFG ultimately does, and that kind of the message of what the movie is, or especially any kids reading the story is experiencing the story in some route. You trust children, you don't talk down to them, like it would be easy for a giant to talk down to the girl because they kind of talk, especially in a later scene, eye to eye to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And in many respects, he's kind of looking up to her because she knows, she knows a little bit more than he does.
Seriously, what do you guys think of the ship?
It's
cool.
It's cool.
I do like the visual of that, like the classic gag of snoring and moving the ship. That was classic.
He sleeps on a ship. All right, I just want to emphasize that he sleeps on a ship.
I love this blanket of grass idea. This is really cool. And also, of course, it's like a nice little tease at Flesh Eater.
This is like one of the dark moments of the movie when the BFG just closes the cave.
And we eat our protagonist here.
It's my favorite moment of the movie because
this is a really cool shot, though. How your face is the only thing lit, and then we pull back in the reveal here.
Mm-hmm.
Really good job. That's Spielberg. He's going places.
Yes, Dragon. That's that young up and comer.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that's Spielberg.
If he tries hard, he might just reach the same heights as Colin motherfucking Trevorrow.
Well, I don't know, Tiki. I mean, he's just kind of wet behind the ears in this business. I don't know.
In case you guys haven't heard, Colin Trevorrow, his new movie just absolutely is just horrible. And that gives me so much confidence for Star Wars Episode 9. It gives me so much hope and confidence.
All right.
Anyways,
That doesn't.
I told you I wasn't going to go on a Star Wars rant. I'm sorry.
Anyway, you know, here's the thing. You know, this scene is just the whole thing with the Frog Scuttle.
Yo.
I know it's in every version. I get that. I personally, I know it's like they adapted because it's in those versions. So like, and they're super faithful to everything, and they kind of found a way to get everything in there without really kind of dragging on too long. I just feel I really wasn't crazy about this. My personal taste. I don't like this gag.
I think the second gag that they use it works a lot better because it's a big build-up and they actually like mine some comedy out of it.
I'm with Dragon here. I just don't think it's very tasteful at all.
I absolutely get why they put it in there. There's because it's in every kind of way you adapt it. They somehow find a way to work it in there. So it's
Yeah, I mean, like you have to adapt the scene.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck because it has a payoff too, and I really dread the payoff because like, oh man, I see it coming a mile away. And it's like, oh, don't we have to do this again? I will say this: the effect on the bubbles kind of fizzing out. It's
Really
kind of
good.
a neat idea though. It kind of reminds me of fizzy lifting drinks.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it also reminds me of the Family Guy gag. But that was a good Family Guy gag on the fizzy lifting drinks, though. Just not a gag realized in this movie.
Why is there flaming green gas coming out of his buttocks? It's like it's a flame.
Well, he swallowed a
That's what the
book of
flub
matches,
scutter does.
you see.
I thought the flub scutter does.
Here we go. There's Jermaine Clement's character. Jermaine Clement is I really like that guy when he shows up. Yes, he was the crab Moana, but also I remember I was really impressed. He basically did a Tim Curry impression for his character in Men in Black 3, and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. So basically,
Also,
anytime Sophie's hiding from this guy, it's another sort of good Spielberg horror moment. And I like how Spielberg mixes these little moments of horror in.
And again, these kind of scenes kind of remind me of a little bit of Indian in the Cupboard in terms of like you have like characters really.
Yeah, that is a good comparison, Dragon.
Yeah, because we have kind of our antagonistic character to our main guy, and then we have like kind of our other smaller characters kind of scurrying about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's almost a little bit of Borrowers too. Just through that.
The Borrowers, yes.
Borrowers is it's a fun watch now and again. If anyone's just out there is like, you check out Borrowers now and again, see how it holds up for you. I can't vouch for it, but give it a watch. But yes, very very tense framing here. I love I really liked Flesh Eater here because he sort of, and this is gonna be kind of a weird comparison. He's kind of like one of those bullies. He's like a Biff Tannen bully. He's like one of those guys you love.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
I use the Biff Tannen comparison because he's very much like he thinks he's the smartest guy, but really, of course, he thinks he's the smartest, best representation of a giant ever. Yet he comes to visit the BFG because he has a boo boo.
Right.
It's like a little paper cut, but even by giant standards, like a little paper cut on his finger, and he's afraid, and he hates water like a cat. It's like it's ridiculous. And he still thinks he's better than him.
Yeah, I mean, I like he's certainly not like in the high caliber of like great film villains or anything like that, but I think he gets the job done pretty well.
I mean, he's entertaining when he shows up. I mean, again, I think he's a good representation for our bad giants because he's also kind of funny, but he's also scary at the same time. They have a good balance strike, especially at the end. The ending of the scene's my favorite when he's just going well. We have like back and forth, yeah, and basically it's such a realistic bully thing where, the BFG has to kind of placate him, and he's just like, yeah, you're the top dog, yeah. He's like, that's what it says, and he's like, you don't eat beans, yeah, I don't eat beans, I don't like water.
That's what I said.
He's easily convinced.
That's what I'm saying. That's just kind of I think they hit it just right with this guy.
Fruits and vegetables.
Distracts him with the water before he crushes the pork roll. I'm taking this. I was so terrified they were going to end this cool scene with.
I am so glad they did it. I'm so glad they did it.
You had the same fear, right?
Yes, I did. Yes,
terrified, like, no, don't go there with it. Come on.
If they would have done that, I would have been like, okay, Spielberg, you went too far. You went too far, Steve.
Don't you mean Spielberg? You went too far, Spielberg.
Oh god.
You gotta try harder if you want to be fucking Colin Trevorrow.
All right, can we get off the Trevorrow?
Oh, it looks
my
like that thing's covered in like whiteheads. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
But I love the practicality of it. It's like someone climbing out of a giant pumpkin or something.
yeah. This thing is so gross, and like they always describe it as like it tastes like a frog. That's how they've always kind of described the taste in the books and the animated things. It looks like it.
Horrible, honestly.
And I love the message there. The BFG in being the nice guy that he is, not eating human beings like everyone else. He's forced to eat the only thing that grows on this place, which is this terrible tasting thing. He eats it because he doesn't want to starve to death. But he just says, "Oh man, it tastes terrible." He never enjoys this crap.
Mm-hmm. So this is where the performance of Rylance, I think, really starts to get into overdrive here.
If I'm right, Rylance is also a really good character, and that is obviously the guy you want to go to for a film like this.
I think the great thing they add to the character, kind of jumping ahead just a little bit, is the backstory with the other kid, which is the other version. I think that alone, I think, makes this the definitive version of the BFG, even over the book in some ways.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Tiki, on that one. Yeah,
and for that reason, I think I just want to point out the subtlety of Rylance's performance, because he looks at Sophie every time he sees Sophie, and every time he interacts with Sophie, it's with a mix of like fondness and tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yes, they really painted a nice complex character.
I really. Like I really wish this character would have gotten a little bit more attention, because I really do think it's a good achievement for Spielberg.
We have some more clever scale. I mean, I know it's kind of like a broken record, but more clever scale with like basically like a little water tower, and he just kind of puts his hand over it so it's not like drowning her.
I never really noticed the fingers before. That's a good touch. It's kind of like a shower drain or something.
Where's the furnace way too hot? It's a giant furnace.
And speaking of Rylance, it's like he's like becoming Spielberg's regular, like he was in British.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
This, and now he's next he's going to be in Ready Player One
and Dunkirk. Well, it's not for Spielberg. I'm saying for you, he's going to be doing Dunkirk as well.
I can't wait for Ready Player One. I just want to put that out there. I'm stoked for Ready Player One. It's right up Spielberg's alley.
It is indeed. I mean, I've read the book.
Have you? So have I.
Yeah, the book the book is freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Spielberg's like a perfect fit for that.
Absolutely.
And Rylance will fit right in there too.
What character is Rylance playing? Is he playing Stornetto?
He's playing. I forget the name of the guy, but he's the guy who like founded the company and all that.
Oh, so he's playing the Willy Wonka?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, it sounds cool.
Yeah, because that character is totally the Willy Wonka. So Mark Rylance is basically going to be video game Willy Wonka.
I'm sold on this movie. I tell you, and I have no history of the book. I'm just kind of sold on it based on Rylance.
And don't forget, we've also got Olivia Cook in there.
Oh, of course. I mean, just the video game version of Willy Wonka just instantly kind of sounds intriguing to me. And of course, Spielberg it's not hurt neither.
Oh yes, yeah, of course, yes.
Now, here's the performance we're talking about here.
Yes, absolutely.
And the motion capture here is they're really. He's got him. BFG obviously because of the motion capture, it looks very much like Ryan. So you just kind of see like all the subtleties in the performance just kind of translating through when he's just looking at this red jacket.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice jacket, though.
It's a very classy looking jacket. It is. Yeah, just look at those eyes, man. Like, God damn, like Rylance just emotes so well with his eyes in this movie, and of course the CG helps that because it's it's part of the design. He basically has Disney eyes, but still,
Disney eyes.
He does. He has Disney eyes.
I was thinking more Disney ears, like kind of pulling from Dumbo on that.
No, I'm serious. I'm not saying that in like a derogatory way. I'm just saying like Disney eyes are meant to be, like big and big and expressive.
There was always that famous. Well, I shouldn't say super fan. I always remember this quote from Wake and Sleep Beauty. The whole like, if you're gonna make a mistake in the animation, don't make a mistake in the eyes.
Yes,
the eyes can character.
Absolutely.
Always remember that quote.
The eyes are the best way to emote a character.
Windows to the soul, absolutely. Here we have, speaking of eyes, just to keep it relevant, we have that, we're going to have that eye-to-eye scene based on this little rig he's got kind of strung up here.
Mm-hmm. Strawbunkles and cream. Strawbunkles and cream, strawbunkles and cream. I'm a little lad who loves strawbunkles and cream. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm living in 2008.
That's why
I'm living 10 years ago.
And that's why I eat before I come on these things. So I'm not. Whenever I see food, I'm not gonna be reminded of my being hungry.
Right.
Especially with the scene later on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, just before it passes, it kind of goes through the whole film, I guess. But I just want to say the pacing in this film is really good.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't really think it misses a beat, to tell you.
Especially in the beginning, like we don't waste time. Like they're instantly just kind of we're into one.
And that's what I'm saying about like cutting out like the nasty orphanage. You know, like
yeah,
like we don't. The shadow communicates all we need. You know, that's all we need to know.
Again, it's kind of just another Spielberg trope we keep bringing up. It's very much kind of that Raiders kind of transitional thing. We keep going from one scene to another. I think Michael Kahn did a really good job editing this film. And just in terms of like we do keep the momentum up. We're just like, and at the same time, we're not losing. Like, we're not just throwing them into becoming fast friends. Like they are kind of you buy that they're becoming friends.
Sure.
There's one obviously out of necessity of okay, I've made a horrible. Sorry, it's not a horrible mistake, because I love that we do this other really smart thing in the very beginning. We excise the guilt. We excise the guilt on the BFG because he realizes, she says, she has no parents, which is something they also have in common. It allows us kind of consequence-free, basically a consequence-free inciting instance. So throughout the film, we're not thinking, oh my God, the BFG is such a lovable character, but he did kidnap a child. We're seeing he wasn't really thinking clearly in the moment.
Now, why does she do this, Churchill? Why does she flip it inside out?
Because the red gets to him, Sandy, because the red is the color it's the same jacket that the kid who died was wearing.
She doesn't know the full story.
How does she know that though?
She saw that he kind of threw him off his game. Basically, after that, he got overprotective.
Yeah, she doesn't know the whole story, but she's just flipping it just to not throw him off.
It makes him overprotective, and she doesn't want that because she wants to come along the journey. That's why she flips it inside out.
Yeah.
Here we go, that eye-to-eye scene right here. So he's kind of silent. I just love this, like, the back and forth and, like,
Yeah. I love how frustrated Rylance looks in this scene. He's just like, oh, come on, I just want to work.
Yep.
And this is kind of what I was talking about specifically in terms of, the way that she treats the drunkards in the pub. It's like she's not going to take any shit from the BFG. You know what I mean?
Certainly.
Kind of like, I thought like she's elevated.
Right there, the side. He's just like, oh God. Yep. Good old lawyer in the making, right there.
They could like a snowman into an air conditioner.
I love the visual of her waving her finger at him.
Like I said, she could talk a snowman into an air conditioner.
Right.
Yep.
Or furnace, whatever.
Yeah, I think furnace probably because someone would obviously want an air conditioner.
So again, it's a little bit of a mix with these giants because they look good. As Dragon said, they look good when it's like individual shots.
Yeah, honestly, with that tiptoe shot, because he's the only one in frame, doesn't look too shabby.
But then when we get here, there's like it starts to get a little inconsistent.
Yeah. Now, what's kind of nice too is that the sleeping giants in the daytime thing does inform kind of our a bit in the third act at the very end. And from
the BFG, he is so frail and so skinny. How are they not breaking every bone in his body? Like flinging him around like this.
Well,
I have no good answer to that.
Well, they do catch him, so he's not like kind of falling like a full momentum. So I mean,
they're basically playing football with him.
No, I know, but I remember playing football. That ball landed in my arm so hard. I mean, how are his bones not breaking? How is he not dead?
All right, fine. It's the Snoscumber. You happy? It's the Snoscumber.
He's an old guy who's skinny and frail. And these guys are huge.
And they weren't very thought out. Their characters just don't look as thought out and detailed as the big friendly giant.
They
Okay,
don't.
I love the frog gag though. That's Bill Hader, by the way, is the one that does the frog.
I gotta tell you, Dragon, that was one of the moments in the theater that kind of made me cringe.
You didn't like the
What?
frolic gag?
I didn't like the frolic thing. I just didn't like the animation on
But the
it.
way it plays, I just love the gag itself. Where it's, he's saying like, yeah, what do we have? What do we
Oh
have
God.
today?
Okay, guys, I'm sorry, but this is probably my least favorite scene in the film.
And this is also
Yeah,
something we don't have in any of the other versions. It's like the only addition, really.
Okay, if that little girl, if this all this actually happened, she would have
Oh, here
several
we go.
broken arms. She would have-
She would have been dead.
That you're right about. Yes.
The way I say, guys, we're talking about.
Semantics.
The way I say we're talking about it. They say we're watching a movie where giants exist and mess with dreams and nightmares. I think they
They
threw
play
reality out the
football.
window a long time ago. I think they threw reality out the window a long time ago. So
Also, here it looks like the actual
How
scene
does
is.
how do those feet like not crush the car entirely?
Right.
I will
And
say
look,
I do like the visual of the BFG riding the truck. I do like that visual. It's about the one thing that right there. That's about the one thing I actually like about the scene.
And let's face this
is my mic muted?
What?
No?
No, we could hear you.
Yeah.
Because you guys are basically glossing over everything I'm saying.
I'm not
I
trying
know how
to.
you
I'm sorry,
feel.
Jacob.
It's okay, Jacob.
No, I mean, like I said several things. You guys just completely ignored me.
What?
I heard what you said.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
but-
you're. I don't know. I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm sorry, man.
Well, you definitely sounded like it.
No, I'm not trying to at all, dude. Go ahead. Say your piece. What's up?
It's all fine now.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I don't want to hang up the commentary on this.
Wait, are you referring to when you said reality is thrown out the window? I don't think.
Pretty much, yeah, but nobody.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess.
No, I was actually responding, but then I was talked over too, Jacob. It's okay.
I know that's why I'm saying not to get. That's why I'm trying not to get held up over it.
All right,
All
so
right.
let's remember the. Well, honestly, I think just that whole scene's put in there so we can have. Basically, it's like Disney saying, "Hey, we need some sort of action, shenanigans in there. So let's put some stuff in there. Let's put some shenanigans in there with like a whole like, hey, they're playing football with a giant scale stuff. Yeah,
How does he find the glasses?
he's got really good eyesight.
Yeah, it's very unlikely that he would, right? It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Here's a cool like way to turn the blank into a plot point here.
I like how it peels off of his foot like a band-aid or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we're on the path to we have really great transitions to locations in this film. Again, we kind of do like they have this kind of cloud device. Where basically, you kind of go not an actual device. This kind of thing they do where you go through the cloud and you kind of end up in a different land, or like to Giant Country. In this case, to Dream Country.
Mm-hmm.
Like the highest peak of like the mountain in this place. Really neat idea.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I was wondering how they were going to pull off in the film was the
Right
different
here is
environments. Right.
Looks great.
Oh yeah. And here we go, guys. This might be maybe my second favorite scene in the film. I think everything about this scene is magical, in all honesty.
It looks visually astonishing.
Mhm.
I love the look of the tree and everything.
The upside down mechanic with the water.
Exactly, yes. And like the fact that you somehow like there's like a water entry, but there's no water on the other side. It's
Mhm.
I love this idea that on the other side, like hanging on the tree, and basically like we have fireflies and how he keeps the dreams like fireflies in a jar.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're kind of like they're hung on the tree, and like they fly, like they kind of grow from trees and from like kind of dew coming from plant life on the other side.
Right. Yeah, it's
Visually
great.
cool, very naturalistic. It's like you can only do this in Giant Country. Well, more specifically, Dream Country.
The lighting, the moonlight, the colors, it's just all very Spielbergian, the stars.
Of course, motion capture in many ways looks best when you're kind of from a distance in silhouettes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Now it's just quiet.
Well, just to speak to it, just the semantics.
I'm sorry.
of
It's just
how he-
like I really like listening to Mark Rylance talk in this movie. It's just very soothing.
He's right, it's very soothing. Just the whole dream mechanics works really well too, because I love just how his horn works later on. How he just like has basically they add like a little groove in the horn so he can like put the put the dream canister inside of it so he can like blow the dreams into the subject. Of course, here she's about to take the plunge.
God damn,
Gorgeous.
it's pretty.
This entire scene is just gorgeous.
Absolutely. And just the idea of the this is the BFG's way of giving, being good. Is that he's being good aside from the other giants. That he's giving back where they all take things. They take children. They literally steal children. He gives back by kind of giving children like a gift. Giving them dreams.
He's giving back, Dragon. He's giving back.
Almost like a proverbial Sandman in a way.
Right.
It's a very nice idea. It's a really kind of sweet notion that they kind of hit upon the book, and I think it just looks great here. And also, what this does, kind of from the character perspective, is that we see basically as this sequence goes on, definitely by the end, like we get a few details from the BFG. Like he announces, he was called the Big Friendly Giant, then she abbreviates it as the BFG, and it's kind of her the kind of representations of the kids, kind of given their kind of okays to the friendship with the BFG. And
God damn, I love that transition.
oh yeah, it's great.
Don't you guys agree?
How is she running on rocks?
What?
I'm not even gonna question.
You're nitpicking
Sandy, you're
someone
by
running
far
over-
the most pessimistic person on this podcast. I just want to point
Really?
that out.
Sorry, Gabby, you're in second
Yeah,
place
you at
now.
least have some nice things to say.
No, I am
I mean-
technically a nice person.
Ezra's
you're
just
nitpicking
over
someone-
here like arguing the logistics of it.
of
I
running
love
over.
you,
So,
Ezra.
Jacob, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like, she's basically like, how could you run over rocks? I mean, people do that in real life.
Yeah, I know, but it's like in bare feet running over these, wet rocks.
Well, they're also wet. Wet rocks are easier to walk over. Just
Don't
in
question
my
it.
experience.
You could
Think of
slip
the birth
and
of the dream
break.
here. I'm sorry, go on.
Oh yeah,
I'm just going on.
Don't question it, Ezra. Acknowledge it.
yeah.
Well, yeah, seriously, like
problem.
it's like this kind of magical veiny effect on the leaves, which then kind of births the dreams in a way.
Yeah.
Of course, importantly, this is Sophie's dream, the gold one here,
Yes.
the
yes.
fizzy wizard, I think.
The heart's
Fizz wizard.
desire.
Yes.
And I love
That's
how
what's
this.
powerful.
I love how the dreams work its way into the music as well.
Yeah. And again, here we get to see kind of a message too, like why these two are good friends. Because again, he is she instructs him, and again, him just kind of being open to the ideas here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eventually, it works out. A lot of shenanigans and hijinks ensue, but eventually, it works out. I do like how the dreams kind of like they come in like basically when he blows them at the horn later on, or like when the dreams are released, they kind of like they go inside of people, ideally into their brains, I guess, or like into their subconscious.
No, I think what it is they get sucked up through the mouth.
Well, that's the thing I'm saying. Like they go inside the head so they can get to the
Yeah,
head. That's
yeah,
sort of-
right.
And yeah, he's really he's amazed by this, and I don't know if he knows exactly what this means now, but we know he figures out later in a really meaningful scene towards the end. He figures out what the Fizz Wizard really is.
Mm-hmm.
At least he hears what it says. That's kind of what Sophie's trying to figure out here, and it's nice how we have most likely just kind of like it might be based on the illustration in the book, but it looks very much kind of like how she's drawn with the short hair and the glasses in the book here when he just kind of does a depiction of what she looks like to show that is Sophie's dream. It's Sophie.
Right, right.
They actually like replicate a lot of images from the book if like into the scenes of the
They
movie.
really do. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jacob. Yeah.
Especially in the scene.
Personally, I can't say much because I've never, like I admitted earlier, I've never actually read the book, but I have seen the images.
Right.
Sure, sure.
But like I said, even the poster that they made for this movie, like, is like a realistic version of the image of the cover of the book.
Yeah,
And that looks exactly like the Sophie from the book right there.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, just on the whole, with all
And
this
yeah,
stuff,
Jacob, you're right with the poster as well. Yeah, it's totally like a live action illustration.
Oh yeah, the Quentin Blake, I think the illustrator.
Sounds right.
The only reason I read him is because of Matilda.
Right.
I read the crap out of Matilda. That's one real doll book. I think that's the only doll book I actually did read.
I read most of them. I read Matilda. I read James and the Giant Peach. I read this.
Harry Potter?
See. What? No. Harry Potter. Get out of here, Ezra. Love the set here, by the way. This is a very practical looking set.
and with a lot of the design work in the CG, it looks a lot like it captures Spielberg's whimsy very well. It feels
To
like,
tell you the truth, this is kind of what I wish live action Wonderland would have looked like.
really?
Yeah, Ezra, what do you think? Weigh in on that.
Wonderland. Yeah. This is what it should have looked like. But of course,
Instead of like the CGI barf that we got for 2 movies.
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of that whatsoever.
No.
Looks very
Because go ahead.
looks very practical here.
Mhm.
Yeah. This whole thing reminds me more of like something out of the Neverending Story.
I could see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the fog.
That's what Wonderland should have been like.
Tex! Tex!
What?
Artax. The horse.
Right.
Come on, dragon.
Anyway,
Come on.
anyway,
You're all about backstory. Come on.
right. Anyway, so the with the red one, the nightmares. I really like the how we have like the red. Obviously, with the intense, piercing red light, and it's usually never a good sign. So that's kind of represents our nightmares. But also just with all kind of the lighting, it feels like kind of a fantasy version of Close Encounters with the the aliens from Close Encounters, and there's like the balls of light.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being a little bit of a visual inspiration there.
You'll hear good design work throughout this commentary podcast, folks, and that's for a reason because it's there.
Yeah.
No, it's like in comparison to Wonderland, how it looked in the Tim Burton movie. Like, look at all the colors in here. Look at the greens and the blues.
Yeah.
And it's like, whereas in the Tim Burton movie, like, hey guys, I know how to make Wonderland. Let's just make it as dark and gray and muted as fucking possible.
Exactly.
Just give it like a brown shit filter.
It's pretty much what they did. Yeah.
Get another clever transition. I love that. Yeah, it's like very, very good camera trickery.
So again, they're really growing and becoming friends here, and especially with the sequence that follows this, and this shows like how developed the friendship is that he takes her along when he's he's sharing the dreams when he's giving them back, and that shows you because again he was dead set on not taking her back here because again he was afraid she was going to be released because it's showing just like kind of an equal amount of trust. I'm going to take you with me. Once she could run off, it's assuming she's in England right now because I know later on she's it's pretty. Yeah, I guess she's in England. I'm saying because the president calls for some reason may have not been England, but yeah, that's England. Regardless. The point is like she could have just run away at any point here, just like he could have just dropped her off here, and she wants to stay with him. It just kind of shows this like the trust that they've acquired at this point.
So, Dragon, you know how we love our talks of 3-act structure, right?
Yes.
I'd say the point where she names him is the end of the first act.
First act?
Yeah, first act. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say first act, but I mean...
Well, Dragon, tell me tell me, because we're fucking experts on the 3-act structure in Spielberg.
I say it so intensely, all right?
I'm just sorry. I just love how
Ease
much
off a little, pal, would you?
I love how much it comes up. But tell me, Dragon, where would you consider the end of the first act?
I didn't really give it much thought, but it feels
it's a
like
Spielberg movie.
I think definitely. I know.
It definitely adheres to the 3-act structure. The man loves his 3-act structure.
Well, I know. Act 3 definitely starts when we go back to London.
Oh yeah, definitely, like the whole Queen segment and stuff. That's Act 3.
Honestly, T, I think this going here might be at the beginning of Act 2.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm saying the end of Act 1 was that like I'm gonna call you the BFG. Don't you think that's the perfect match? Like, okay, like Act 1.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what threw me off of it on it is because I think it's just the movie goes by. It goes by so fast. It's like, yes, you're right. That's too late for Act 1. But no, yeah, that's Act 1 because it all connects so fluidly, I guess.
Yeah, it's a long Act 1. It's half the movie, but
that's what I'm saying. But again, it doesn't seem like it's that long, right?
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Though.
It sets up all the important plot stuff. It sets up all we need to know about the characters, and that's what an Act 1 does. All right, I'm terribly sorry to the 3 other people in the room who have to listen to this. Anything you guys have to say about this scene?
Maybe the 3-act structure you'd like to say?
Oh God.
Oh gee.
Nope.
All right.
Are you sure?
Oh God, Dragon. Okay, no, you need to stop.
All right.
Yeah.
But and here, of course, we have some daddy issues from Spielberg here.
Oh, classic daddy. He couldn't resist.
No, but seriously, it's kind of this fun. It's fun, but a little. It depends how far you read into it. But it's the idea that the child's trying to show up, kind of to supplant and show up the father here.
I do like this little fantasy of talking to the president.
And the father's losing. That's the big thing stressed in the scene. The father's
right.
losing his mind, super jealous of the fact that the kids get talking to the president so familiarly.
And Spielberg's just like, yeah, that's how my dad would react if I talked to the president.
Let's not make it.
Oh yeah, gotta have those daddy issues, right, George? Yeah, right.
I've never heard Spielberg in that light, I gotta say.
I'm basically doing the.
I've never heard Benevolent Spielberg. That's Benevolent Spielberg.
That's the South Park Benevolent Spielberg. So that's like the raping Indiana Jones Spielberg. Yeah, it's Indiana Jones.
Let's get off of raping below the scene.
Well.
All right.
It's
raining a little.
All right.
Tiki, what you're doing sounds like a cross between Spielberg and Mr. Burns.
It's fair enough.
I'll tell you, it already passed, but real quick, I just want to make sure I get in there. I love they captured the nature of dreams really well at the end of that scene, where it's the whole idea of how dreams kind of fade away and you wake up, but it feels again kind of the Inception logic of while you're in there, it feels like going forever.
Yeah, definitely. That is that is kind of they illustrate the passing of time really well. Yeah. So, do you guys think there's any validation in the theories of this movie being a dream within a dream? I feel like now is a good time to kind of bring it up.
I'm in the camp that says no.
Because the whole idea is basically she dreams about the BFG in her dreams, and then her real life is with Mary.
I see where that might be coming from. I just don't see it because I think when we had no real clue with BFG in the very beginnings, and aside from when he shows up, I'm saying we don't really have where she would have gotten BFG from.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't think there's really anything in this movie that kind of indicates that yes, this is also a dream as well.
There's just a lot of people going into dreams and then waking up from dreams, so it could kind of use the same sort of Inception logic that way.
Only if it is a dream, then the BFG exists as an imaginary friend. That's the thing you have to accept.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's basically the way people are interpreting the ending is that the BFG is an imaginary friend that she made up she's basically a lucid dreamer.
Right. And this is nice. This is a nice subtle thing that the BFG he kind of dug up some ground so she'd have something soft to lay on, like a little mini bed when
Mhm.
she was there. It's kind of a nice thing because she lost the comforter, so it's like a little something.
And this is another thing I'm talking about. Like, we just saw her wake up again. This is kind of like a surreal, like no one's on the street. Like, for all we know, everything in this point of the movie forward could be a dream. We just don't know, because that's the nature of dream movies, guys.
Right.
Oh yeah, of course.
So again, nothing like a good CGI silhouette shot.
I will say one. You're right. The silhouette wasn't great. There's one thing I wanted to hit upon those in terms of there was kind of maybe a clumsy transition, I should say, where basically the BFG shares the story about the boy, which is really moving, like that whole thing. Like called the BFG and everything, and then essentially after sharing that story, then Sophie brings up, "I lost my comforter," and the minute she says that, then the BFG he puts it together, but she doesn't. She doesn't really hit upon the fact that, hey, now the Giants probably know that I'm there.
Which really is kind of out of character for both of them. Like, she should have picked up on it more than he did.
That's what I'm saying. And then she kind of goes, the Ramley goes to sleep, and then she's then we get. I think it's like out of all the transitions, I think it's kind of like maybe the sloppiest, but not bad. Just it could have been a little tighter.
I hear what you're saying. But of course, we're growing some emotional attachment between these two.
Oh, yeah. We definitely hit the point where she's about to make a really risky move when she coming up. They're building to it, and basically I forget if she's. I know she's going to lay out the idea shortly if she hasn't. But the whole. I'm sorry. This bit's really great here when she asks, "Was the boy scared?"
I agree.
Such a somber bit, and this is where he had so much great character depth to the BFG. Where he says, was he scared in the end? He says, "Yes, in the end."
This is another moment in the trailer that sold me, except they edited it a little differently in the trailer.
They want to give away
where in the trailer she asks, like, "Are you scared?" and he says, "Yeah." And I don't know, just that moment with Rylance, just the performance. It was another performance beat that really sold me on what this movie could be.
And of course, the great thing with just this boy revelation is that way early on, when we all know the whole backstory of the boy at that point, but way early on, when Flesh Eater is saying, "Do you have another little petty poo?" implying, "Do you have another little?" because he ate that kid.
Mm-hmm,
That's what he did. That's again, it's just so horrible. Like he said, he discovered he had like a little visitor, and he ate him like he was like a pet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I really do like about this movie that fits with Spielberg that I keep saying, is that it definitely isn't afraid to go into like the dark sort of like 80s and 90s kids movies. You know what I mean? And
that's also just fits Dahl like a glove, because he's all about like children facing consequences and stuff like he's not afraid to kill off some kids, or at least ambiguously kill off kids. Yeah. Here we have that gutsy move here where she's talking. I'm sorry, Jake, go on.
I was gonna say Dahl is definitely out of his time, and not a lot of people have that kind of gumption that he did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, speaking of gutsy, I think this was gutsy just for the studio to do.
What?
This scene coming up here, I think this might be the darkest moment of the film.
Yeah, it's a real make or break of belief here. The whole,
I mean, oh man. Could you imagine if things had gone differently?
Yeah, don't try it at home, kids.
Right.
Magical Giant's not going to catch you.
Yeah, this is imitatable, kids. Come on. You want a big friendly giant, don't you?
Oh, God.
Just jump off the ledge.
Oh,
Just jump off the ledge or your bedroom window, and you're going to be caught from your big friend.
Oh, man.
No.
I've also heard critics, kind of stupid, like SJW critics, criticize this movie for basically being an enabler for child abductors, and I'm like, no, you're going too far there, buddy.
Bro,
Yeah,
it's
I've
a
heard that,
freaking CGI movie.
I know.
Of a giant. I mean, are they for real?
Again, we already went through it.
Basically, their argument is like, oh, like Sophie goes on this adventure with this strange man who takes her out of her bedroom, so therefore,
Yeah, no, okay?
Yeah.
No.
That kind of crap makes about as much sense as people saying Beauty and the Beast is about Stockholm syndrome.
Oh,
It just
God.
doesn't make
I
any
mean,
Well,
sense.
no, I think Beauty and the Beast being about Stockholm syndrome makes a lot
more
more sense
sense.
than that.
It makes
Yeah,
way more
right?
way more sense.
Like one of my first of all, this eye transition's fantastic coming up.
I agree. The eye is wonderful. Yes.
There's been one glaze over that, but my point is with the criticism is that I mean one of my favorite parts in this movie is the fact that we stop child abductors and it's awesome.
Exactly.
And again, we already established in the very beginning she wasn't really being abducted by anyone. She she was a really crappy orphanage.
I'm just gonna go ahead and call out the person who did that. It's good old Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer, who is just like a ridiculous personality. So yeah, Grace, just great way to paint this movie in a bad light. Anyways,
What?
I'm sorry.
Hey, what? Who? How?
Bro, did you just miss the past like tense?
I know, right?
What happened?
What?
I'm just.
What did he say?
Basically, people were saying that this movie is what's the word? Encouraging child abduction.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
So we're basically saying how it's ridiculous because it's a CGI freaking giant.
And Tiki was calling someone out. That's about it.
I called out Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer. Go troll her YouTube account if you want.
And she doesn't love it.
No, I'm just saying Grace Randolph is the kind of critic who will definitely use political shit as a reason to not like a movie, like diversity and stuff like that. And okay. Anyways, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Then I guess pretty much out of the bunch here, again, our main giant's pretty much the best looking the bunch here in terms of the kind
Look
of
at the
scene.
veins on his hand.
That's what I'm saying. He gets all the because he's their lead character. That's why he gets the most kind of rounded out here.
But the problem is, it's just like the other giants just look goofy as fuck in comparison. Like
One
the Bill
thing-
Hader giant.
One thing you got to give
The
him though, in
CGI
terms
is
of not-
awful, guys. It looks like a DreamWorks film right now.
Well, again, technically,
Yeah, it does, doesn't
it
it?
is a DreamWorks film. Technically, It's
It
partly a
looks
DreamWorks
like
film.
an animated DreamWorks film. You know what I'm saying? Screw
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Oh, broken dreams. That's all I
And this
think
is
of every
definitely
time.
kind of when we're getting into the low of lows of the movie, I think.
And they're showing his life's work, man. That's not right.
Broken, shattered dreams.
Exactly. Shattering all his
Literally.
dreams.
Symbolism!
All right. But the one thing I got to give him was with it played better than the kind of the studio added scene where they're playing football with the BFG. But I mean, it's also here and there when you see them in groups like this. In terms of the body, I mean, what they did is they put them in the motion capture suits and they like tied. I love the way how they got this. They tied weights and stuff to them so they'd walk like a giant with all the additional weight.
Mm.
They capture the movements good. Just all the details up close for the rest of it.
That being said, I know I sound like a broken record here, but this is another kind of like horror movie-esque scene.
Oh yeah.
I love when she hides in the water to hide her scent.
This one feels very Borrowers-esque here. This sequence here is just
Uh-huh.
like, kind of hiding all over the place, really small, like, and
looks really
it's a room full of giant.
I want
goblins.
a log flume of this. I'm just going to call this out. I want a log flume that goes through the BFG's cave.
Oh, that'd be great.
Can we have a train in
Right.
the cave because that was just awesome? Even though
The
it got
Disneyland
destroyed.
Railroad. Okay, I'm just going to armchair Imagineer for a minute here. Like the Disneyland Railroad could go through the train and then have the log flume up on the upper layers. Yeah, Disney, if you actually marketed this movie, you could have made that. Anyways, I'm sorry for that tangent.
Oh, that's great.
Well, this is nice coming up here, where again Sophie's just as Sophie gets in danger, and as the Giants are really just pushing the BFG's buttons here, where he really kind of he sticks up for himself thanks to Sophie's influence. And I love that he does it not in a physical, not a real he doesn't overpower them, but he just using kind of strategy. Well, not I shouldn't say real strategy, but using kind of mind over muscle in a way. And he used the fire poker in the water because he knows they hate water. It's like that's how he kind of defeats them in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like I found the last one. I'm gonna find this, and oh boy, Jermaine Clement, flesh eater, man. No, that's not cool.
Now,
I will say
when
this character is a better villain than the crab from Moana.
But he could sing though.
Okay, now,
Gosh, you did not just say that.
now when they find this bean, how are they gonna eat it? Like, because there's like what 5 of them, and it's like a little shrimp compared to all of them. So
Believe me,
you
it's
know
not
what,
to be
that-
pleasant, but they'll tear her into pieces. That's how
I
they're
was
going
about
to
to
do it.
say that.
but it's like they'd be
It'll
eating
be like a
nothing
little
because she's so
breadstick to
small.
us, Sandy. And one breadstick will be the leg. One breadstick will be the other leg.
All right, now, Tiki, this bit here is what when you mentioned the ship, I was thinking of this, where the kid has a little model of the ship.
Oh yeah, right.
It's nice.
It is.
And also, again, this is where we get all the book illustrations are in this scene here, and the idea, and this is kind of a sweet idea that the kid was writing the book, and then the BFG took over writing the book by the very end.
Yes. That's it.
Which is always something I loved in the book, how the BFG wrote his own book.
Right, and that's a framing device that a lot of movies use, like especially book adaptations, like the character is writing the book.
Mhm.
But I think it works really well here.
Like Lemony Snicket, of course.
Of course. I was also thinking of oh shoot.
Well, technically, Captain Underpants, technically.
Yeah, and also technically Bates Motel, kind of.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they really capture like kind of how the.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of The Hobbit.
Ah,
Yeah.
so here we go. Now the BFG again, definitely probably reminded of figuring out where Sophie is. I mean, it's definitely bringing back some memories. He's just been pushed to the edge. He doesn't want the same fate to befall Sophie, like in the exact same place. And that's when using the blanket they use the tractor to. It's like kind of the ultimate kind of like here's your for you.
Yeah, Jermaine Clements is a really good mix of like pathetic and intimidating.
Again, very Biff Tannen-esque.
Right.
There we go, water.
I don't like being clean.
Very satisfying.
It's like they're a bunch of naughty school children. Like they don't like their baths, and they don't like getting the cane essentially. And the cane in this case is a hot fire poker. Very doll-esque, I guess.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'd say that was kind of like the good, kind of transition for Act 2 to 3. Act 2 in this movie is incredibly short.
Yeah.
It's like 15 minutes.
Of course, we have our Queen light bulb moment here with the really dusty photo of the Queen. Because why not?
I just
Dragon,
to compare this movie to the animated movie, the Queen in the animated movie just seems so boring and lifeless compared to this Queen.
I still liked it, but I like this one a lot better, though. I'll concede to that. I'm just saying, again, again, they really, let's talk about it a little bit now, because we just make sure we get in there. So again, they very, honestly, in this film adapts all 3 versions, like, to a T, and they add stuff, like, add a few things here and there. Maybe, like, again, like the football scene we don't really need, but they put in there because they want to entertain people.
The football scene has plot purposes, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mainly the cover, that's the main. The cover and her saying "don't take it," her saying like fight back. It was about the 2 big plot points in that.
Right,
so I'll give it that. Yes, you're right. So, but either way, I'm saying it's it still finds a way to keep everything from every other adaptation. It's not really a long. I don't know how long the book is, but
it's not long. It's like maybe 150 pages.
Exactly.
I want to guess.
Yeah.
It's more of a novella.
And again, this is what an adaptation should do. It should honor it very well, but it should also kind of add some new ideas. It's kind of like the usual kind of argument I use versus Dark Knight Returns in the animated film, which I'll test is really. I prefer the animated film. The point is, like, again, it represents the book well enough, and also kind of maybe, if not fixes a few things from the book, if it adds on to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should do when you adapt something, I guess. This is really. Oh, this is such a sweet moment. And I like to think that after she's explored the room a bit, she gets to kind of experience more kind of what the BFG's friendship was with this kid. She says, "You know what? I've been a little harsh on the guy. I'm going to give him a compliment. I'm going to compliment his speech pattern," which is nice.
But this is great how he's just like not listening to him.
Yep. Again, she's so. Oh, that's the darn nicest thing I ever did.
So I'm curious what Ezra and Gabby in particular have to say about this Queen business, because
Oh my gosh.
It kind of comes out of nowhere, but I kind of love it at the same time.
I mean, I kind of am okay with it, but it really was random, and I felt like it was a little too random.
Like they never introduced the queen before. Why is she just all of a sudden coming in now?
Well, like, I mean, everything's surrounded by the orphanage or basically the giant realm in a hole. So all of a sudden now the queen's involved, and honestly, I didn't feel like their reason of her going to the queen or whatever was really that important. It's just I feel like it was just unnecessary to add.
All right, we'll have a good conversation about the queen. I just want to point out I really love this this little scene I forgot was in here of making the nightmare, kind of like adding little ingredients and everything.
Oh yeah, this whole looks visually really great. How we have kids doing Ring Around the Rose, and then and kind of essentially flesh.
Put some army in it. This reminds me of like the army men from Toy Story.
Yeah, yep. Come on, that has to be Spielberg drawing a little bit of reference there. It has to be.
I wish that was Arlie Ermy. Like doing the little like move.
Little dazzling little sequence we got here.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. I'm sorry, Gab. I didn't mean to like cut off the conversation or anything.
No, you're fine. I didn't cut off.
Okay, good. All right, just a little bit of Sophie to, and I like the logic of this. I like the logic that this movie presents of like individual dreams are basically snapshots, and you have to add them together to make a dream.
Mm-hmm. Sylvie blows the horn to put himself into the.
Yeah, right.
But the mini version, it's not even the big version.
The Magister.
The queen.
The bicycle being used as the mixer, that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Good shadow work.
Oh, yeah.
The lighting in this movie is great.
Very kind of Wizard of Oz kind of house blowing effect there with all spin around like that.
Now, as far as the queen goes, I do think that in the book and maybe even the animated movie, the transition is a little less harsh. Because I do agree with Gabby. I think my problem with this movie isn't necessarily the queen as much as it is the Mary character. Mm-hmm. Because Rebecca Hall does, like, she's fine.
I just want to say for the record, I enjoy Rebecca Hall.
I just, like, the original Mary character from the book and the animated film was kind of like more of like a granny type character. Like, she almost kind of reminds me of Nanny from 101 Dalmatians or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that would have been a little bit better to go with here because, like, with Rebecca Hall, it's just sort of, I don't know, it's just like, it just sort of comes out of nowhere. And I just wish, like, because with a granny, I think it would be a little bit more understandable that she just, like, you know, form an instant attachment to this kid and want to take her in. But I'm not saying Rebecca Hall doesn't come off as pleasant in this movie. It's just, you know, I don't know. Yeah. I just think they could have worked the transition in a little better.
I think with the Rebecca Hall thing, it's like we definitely read into it that maybe she adopted her. It's not really as clear as it would have been with the other, like in the other versions.
Or maybe she was Sophie's real mom all along, and it was just
all right.
That would honestly make the most logical sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that would. I'm not even going to put that down.
Right?
That would make more sense than this.
Okay, I hear what you guys are saying about like the abrupt transition and everything. That being said, some of my favorite sequences are in this Queen scene. I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of rolled with the Queen thing. I was just saying, well, yeah, it's a little out of left field, but I'm loving this Queen stuff. She's awesome.
You must remember the Queen stuff from the animated.
Well, yeah,
though, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, she was good in that here. I think.
So you must have known it was coming.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it's been
because that's the thing. I think for people like Gabby who don't know it's coming, who aren't familiar with the source material, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like we're going here now. All right, I can totally see that.
Yeah,
it actually is. It's kind of like how there are a lot of people that don't really like the Harry Potter films just because a lot of it. because not a lot of it makes it doesn't jive with the original books that were made. So it's like, what? So it's kind of a
Gabby, we could have
thing.
so many conversations about that. So many hours of conversation.
But I mean, that's kind of the deal, though. I haven't seen the cartoon, nor have I read the book, so I don't really know where this is coming from. And I don't know
totally
if it's
hear you.
similar or not, you know.
And like I said, I do think that the Mary character really should have been more of a granny type character. I don't know.
You know what this situation reminds me of? This whole I haven't seen this, haven't seen that. It reminds me of Tintin, because there were the comics and there was the cartoon.
Oh, and Tintin is a movie that I don't really like. There's some good stuff in Tintin.
There's a lot of good stuff in Tintin.
There is.
But there's a lot of too.
I agree with that. But maybe that's because of what Ezra's saying about the source material. Like, I have no attachment to the Tintin comics.
Agreed. And I haven't even seen them either.
Right.
You know, the film.
So with Tintin, it was like, I love the Cairo sequence, and I love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Those are like the two takeaways of the movie for me.
Well, just getting on to the beginning of the Queen stuff here. I love the characterization of the Queen. They capture kind of the...
She's really, really good, yeah.
Yeah, they capture the cool Queen from the story. You know, basically this idea, and this I always love this concept of the Queen here, so they improve upon it a little bit more here, is that it's the idea that she's, you know, she's really quick to believe. I'm saying on the whole, but just the Queen of England in general. So that not just this is the 80s, you know, the Queen Elizabeth, Queen specifically. But just in general with the Queen of England, I would like to believe that the real Queen is pleasant as she's depicted in various medias. I would like to think that, and that's why I'm very sad.
I think that's kind of wishful thinking, Dragon. But
I know, I'm just saying, I would like to think she's as pleasant as I've never seen really a bad Queen in media. I'm saying this is kind of the best Queen I've seen. To be honest with you, it's like, oh my gosh, she's so darn nice, and she's so open-minded and polite, and she's getting for anything. I'm all for this Queen.
Dragon this man is a sucker for pleasantries, folks.
But she's really nice to kids.
She is. I agree.
Well, so is Gordon Ramsay, but I mean, have you seen him to adults?
That's nice.
Wait. So is who, Gabby?
Gordon Ramsay. He's amazing to children.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
I mean, yeah, great. Someone's sweet to kids. That doesn't mean they're sweet to anybody else.
Random tangent. I saw on Facebook like a little like meme. Like, what if Gordon Ramsay was the voice of your GPS?
Oh God.
You missed the turn, you fucking dog!
Oh my God. That is wonderful.
Someone needs to actually like make something like that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Like an app. Someone needs to make it. Or like a Gordon Ramsay Siri.
Oh God, Gordon Ramsay Siri. Oh no.
I like the Formiga version of that, where basically anytime and she goes from sweet, you know, the sweet Vera Farmiga to a hysterical Vera Farmiga. You missed the turn. You have to go back.
Oh God.
That was fantastic.
Okay, I just want to point out, this guy, he changes accents every time he speaks.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, like the first time he speaks, he sounds American. The second time he speaks, he sounds British.
Yes.
Later in the banquet hall, when he's talking to Sophie, he sounds Irish. I swear to God, I'm not making this up.
No, I agree.
You know,
yeah,
that reminds me of
this.
Tiki, have you ever seen Hancock, the Will Smith movie?
Yes.
Do you remember the bad guy in that? Where he kept switching accents in that movie.
No, I don't, Dragon. I'm sorry. It's been a while.
Well, take my word for it. The guy changed his accents in that movie like crazy.
All right.
So yeah, it's really nice seeing you.
This is one of my favorite reveals in the movie, I think.
Oh yeah.
This is Spielberg magic right here.
It is.
Of course, at first, the Queen's just kind of like, well, come down, dear. We'll get you situated and we'll help you out.
I love that we don't drag it on like the whole like, oh, he didn't show up, so we gotta like drag it on. So like then he eventually shows up in another scene, and to think she's crazy. I love we cut through that instantly. Just like,
yeah, like there's a little moment of doubt.
Yes, like we don't have like the conventional by numbers doubts. You know, like, oh, she must be crazy. Let's get her someplace. And I love that the queen, that she makes the queen promise not to harm the BFG, and she keeps her word. That's really nice.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Of course, they want to make her look like the good guy. I mean, if they wanted her to be the bad guy, then she would have been like, "Ha bitch."
but seriously though, reading into that just a smidge of that again with the I think the idea is it's like a fanciful, like from a kid's perspective, if all your authority figures kind of let you down, or in this case they're non-existent, you think like kind of the head honcho of the authority figures would be ideally kind of like better than the rest for all of them to kind of take an example from. So that's why the queen's probably as nice as she is in this story.
I don't like how they're all just like, oh yeah, it's a giant. Better take it down now. It's like, it's like, look at him. It's like they're like.
Okay, listen to this guy. He sounds freaking British. Hold on. See? You see? The first time he calls the guards out, he totally has an American accent. All right, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get fixated on that.
All right.
I completely agree, though. Just
Good. I'm glad I'm not crazy, Gabby.
You are not crazy.
Well, I am crazy, but that's an entire different conversation.
Amazing. That cloak looks it's so practical.
Mm.
And
we get a lot of classic Spielberg, like wide eyes in the scene. You know, like looking up in awe.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I love the subtlety in Rylance right here. He's just like, he's got such a range of emotions. You know what I mean? Like, this is a really proud moment for him, but he doesn't really quite understand the significance of it.
Yes, it's just he makes it such a great humble scene. You know, he brings with his performance, he brings such an earnest.
Oh, hold on. I just want to point out this tiny little beat of music very much sounds like the Danny Elfman Spider-Man score.
Okay, let me hear this.
The da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's the kid doing the face palm, still pretty funny.
I guess kind of.
I don't hear it, but
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Ruler of
Straight lines. That part, I was like, what?
I love how this girl's like wincing because she knows, oh boy, this could go horribly.
She's like, oh.
But seriously, just the earnestness and the charm that Rylance is playing here is just, it's great. Like just the right acting choice to play in this scene. Like he's making all the right choices here. Hey, sister.
He's definitely a natural choice for the BFG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. He knows he shouldn't be laughing, but he's laughing. He's covering his mouth here. It's just really.
I mean, like, I am sure it's a completely different role, but this movie really makes me want to check out Bridge of Spies.
Oh yeah,
because I've been kind of like sour on Bridge of Spies from what I've heard of it, but not as sour as I am on Warhorse. It's a Warhorse.
I'm sorry.
He's a Warhorse.
You know, I've never seen Warhorse. I just want to clarify. Did they actually say Warhorse like that in the movie?
I literally heard a review of the movie. Like, that's where I got that joke from. Is that, like, one of the people who reviewed the movie, that's literally how they talk.
It sounds like Vinnie Jones has been reviewing
No, basically how they do it is it's like A-R and then or. So it's like or-ors. Or-ors.
That's like BoJack Horseman's next movie. Like he's like a horse that's armed. It's like a kung fu movie. He's armed with an oar.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. They need to reference Warhorse and BoJack Horseman.
They've referenced it.
Did they? Okay, that's good. That's good.
He tried to get me Warhorse. I didn't need the actual Warhorse.
Okay, so really quickly, I said, this is something that we've never seen explained in the book or the animated film or anything. And it's just like, I'm so glad that they took the time to like visually demonstrate it.
Oh yeah.
How does a giant fit inside a castle? Like this.
Right.
I love how the confused looks and all the guests like, okay, there's a giant in here.
They're like air traffic controllers. Well,
God.
The guys with the light up cones on the tarmac, just like waving them in.
Boltzwinkles.
What was that?
What was that?
And again, I love that she's going to make an apologies for the giant. It's just like it's they're a great trio in the scene.
I love the practicality of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They throw the cape on and it's like a giant blanket. I love the giant briefcase as well. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting excited about the food porn that's coming up.
Okay. Can we call it something other than that, please?
It is totally food porn, right?
Food magic.
There we go. Food magic. It's something. Well, yeah, seriously, this scene is one of my favorites in the movie. It's kind of the one is just the ridiculousness, but the charming ridiculousness of like she went. I mean, the queen is such a hostess. She really.
Oh yeah!
She
Oh
builds,
my
like,
god!
On like a last within like the morning hour, she builds this table and like there's this chair put on top of the piano. Like you got a giant chair. He doesn't even need a giant chair. She's going all out for him.
Right.
Yeah, I like these looks to Rebecca. It's like kind of.
I don't know. To me, it's just sort of like it's a little lazy.
Look, I mean, call me sappy, but I'm just saying there was a bit like I watched the movie. I was like, I kind of hope she ends up with this Rebecca.
I'm just saying, for me, it just kind of it falls a little flat because it's like we're not really seeing them interact as characters. We're just seeing like Rebecca Hall being like, "Oh, this girl's cute."
Right.
I don't know. It reads a little bit flat for me.
All right, would have liked more confirmation, but you're right. Yes, it would have been nice to get more of a murder though.
And here we go.
Yes.
Oh, so much good. Oh my God. Oh,
the toast. Look at the toast.
I know the toast. The toast.
Love the toast.
So as you can tell, folks, Dragon and I are like we just love food in movies, animated or otherwise.
Usually animated, but in this case,
And did you see the corn?
Yes, the corn. Oh my God. Little
Corn.
Force of Evil reference.
This is a royal breakfast if I've ever seen one.
I love the egg.
The eggs get like a little tray.
Right.
Dipping the toast in the eggs. Oh,
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
But even with the queen and Sophie, there
Just the giant stacks of toast.
The giant.
look at all those biscuits. Oh my God.
Yes.
We're just all losing it over the food.
Eat all those biscuits.
But again, it's like he's like a mini brick wall made of toast.
Right.
And he's complimenting it to the queen herself. That's so nice.
The fact that he's using a pitchfork as an actual
Yes,
fork
I
and a
love
shovel.
that. Yeah.
And a shovel as a spoon.
Rumdiddlyumptious. I agree with you.
So I like how the staff and everyone is kind of like warming to his vocabulary. They're kind of seeing it as like kind of like quirky and charming.
And I like that we're building some sympathy. Basically, the queen's getting to know the giant a little bit through, like you mentioned, that he eats snozcummers, which tastes terrible. That's the only thing he has to eat. You get some sympathy points built with the giant.
Sure.
It's really nice. You get to eat actually good stuff.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Pay
Disgusting
attention to this guy. Pay attention to this guy. He's about to have an Irish accent.
I honestly love that you I love that you keep pointing it out. I think it's great.
There was
It's
this,
so freaking
right here.
Now there's a deleted
He's
scene.
magnificent, your giant.
Now you see, there was a deleted scene where after he spits out the coffee, because they had the coffee, she recommends tea. Now before he got to
God! Oh no! Oh God! Okay, let's do it.
before they got to
Obligatory Hamlin joke of the episode, folks. Go ahead, Dragon.
Oh God!
Before they got to the fog,
I'm just indulging him.
See, after he spits out the coffee, they're going to the next beverage, which was tea. And we had Howard Hammond looking like the best darn British servant you ever did see.
Oh,
he was looking so proud of himself, and he was walking over the tea. And basically, and then after he pulled out the fog sweet, like the queen or someone held up like a hand's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, he looks all dejected and he leaves the room. That was the deleted bit.
Okay, we seriously need to contact Patrick Fabian about this tea thing. I think he'd be delighted.
I told you the meme to make, but you never did anything with it.
All right.
Anyway, Oh, that was
man.
really painful. One of those guys that just backed onto the coffee instead of the tea. When they were covered in the coffee, yeah, that had the burn. I mean, you saw the steam coming up. I'm like, oh my god, that's like how your classic, your British Guard thing.
I once poured a pot of boiling water all over my hand because the top of the teapot came off as I was pouring it.
Oh, that's happened to me too. I'm so sorry.
Right. No, it's fine. It's just like, yeah, that was super painful.
I can understand. I have so many. Well, I have. Okay, when you have a little teapot like I have, it's a little glass one. You don't hold the freaking nozzle because it's glass, and then you'll die. Okay, so.
Right.
I once microwaved hot chocolate and got second-degree burns on my tongue.
Oh man,
those are very painful tea memories.
Or what about getting hot glue in your hand and it gets stuck there and keep burning?
I'm sure Howard Hamlin only has the fondest of tea memories.
Of course.
Sandy, I don't think you know.
Ratatouille flashbacks of tea memories.
No, tea. Hot water.
No. I accidentally flipped a pot or a pan of boiling oil over, and I tried catching it, and I caught it by the inside with the oil on my hand.
Oh God!
I know. So I had to wear a little. Shit. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And the only thing my mom was worried about was how I burnt oil into her little rug.
Oh God!
I was like, I just caught the pan with my hand. Right at the rug.
Very concerned parents you got there.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
So
anyway, some maps.
The one thing I do like about the joke coming up is I do like the build up to it. Like, because we have it there. It's like it's almost kind of like the Chekhov's fart, right? The Chekhov's flatulence.
I can't believe we've had to make that reference, but yes, Tiki, it is very much Chekhov's flatulence, yes.
And I do like the look of the drink inside the little champagne glasses.
That is nice, and I agree with the Queen. Seeing the bubbles go down is quite fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I know why you were excited for the bit. I know it has to be because this part literally is in the book.
Okay, the bagpipes sold me. All right, the bagpipes are fucking ridiculous, and they sold me.
I could not. I saw it's coming to my ways. But honestly, here's the thing. It's feeding into a thing that kind of gets me with the live-action Disney. There's always that one bit. There's always that one bit in the live-action adaptations where it's like you roll your eyes at. And the bit when the dogs are when the dogs look it up and then they're affected by it. It's like,
I can't defend that.
That's one of those live-action adaptations. Like we had to throw this in there because we can do it with technology. Yeah.
That joke belongs in like an Air Buddies movie.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, we always have, it's always in one of the live-action. They always fit in one of those scenes.
However, I do like the looks everyone give. Like, like, oh boy. Yeah, and it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest.
Really don't like this scene.
That just happened.
Christ.
Shit.
Okay, you know what I do like about that scene from a thematic level, though? That's the moment that gets the Queen like 100% on board with the BFG. It's like
that's the moment that gets her 100% with the BFG.
It is. She's like, two giant country. Let's do it. That's their battle cry.
Rectal trauma. That's what gets her there.
Yes.
God.
Well, logic. Roll doll logic.
Right. There's an inspiring moment for it. Here's a better inspiring moment. A giant jumping to a magical land surrounded by awesome helicopters.
Tell me this doesn't remind you of Wonder Woman in retrospect.
Kind of, a little bit.
I don't know.
Except it's at the clouds. It's more like an alternate reality kind of thing.
Well, now you mention it, I didn't occur to me in the moment, T, but bringing it up, I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
You basically kind of follow like a magical kind of like crossover point.
It is kind of reminiscent of crossing over to Themyscira.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like how Sophie keeps switching clothes throughout the movie. It kind of, it keeps up the outfit and the look through the 3 acts. You know what I mean? It like updates her based on the character.
Certainly. And of course, like they all do very much kind of reflect where she's not exactly kind of the Jennifer Bryan kind of Better Call Saul logic applied to it, but there's a little bit of character applied to it. You got some, she's just kind of middle of the night to, kind of like the changing clothes of reminiscent of the boy with the jacket.
Mm-hmm. Right.
To, now like kind of being kind of in Queen's house, essentially. In the Queen's
and
house.
you know why she's dressed this way, Dragon, right?
Why?
Because this is the way she's dressed in bed, and she's gonna wake up, and it's fucking gonna be a dream, and I'm sorry, that's a stretch, because that's not the way she's dressed in bed at all.
Consider my mind blown, Tiki.
I never don't stretch as hard as Super Carlin Brothers do. Super Carlin Brothers are the Pixar theory guys.
Well, I thought it was one guy.
Well, Super Carlin Brothers basically made a whole YouTube channel about it.
Right.
Anyways,
we'll get on to this thing. So here's something with this movie here, where I think honestly, a part of me kind of wishes I think the movie could have ended here with this really sweet scene between two of them. It ends with kind of that awesome handshake. Honestly, a part of me thinks like there's an ending here, but I think the stuff following is necessary and it's good. Just like
it is a good kind of culmination of Sophie and the BFG and their relationship and arc. Yeah,
it almost feels like it could end here.
I agree to a certain extent. I just, obviously for the point of the story, you need the payoff with the giants,
Certainly. And now here's the thing. I think, honestly, if I'm right, the climax was something that was in the animated movie. I don't know if they had like a climax like this.
It was definitely in the animated movie. I want to say it was in the book as well.
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't think it was in the book. Tiki, sorry, I don't think it was in the book. I could be wrong. I've read the summations to the book. And summations.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right. Well, anyway, regardless, it's like I think this is the most fantastic way we've kind of seen that scene because there's
Dragon. In a way, it maybe would have been good if they would have focused less on the giant, so it wouldn't have been as much of a conflict. So you would have had this scene as like a final end.
Well, honestly, I think they streamlined it as much as they could because again, in the anime movie, it went on a lot longer. It was more of a big chase of like Sophie.
Okay, in the book, they make a giant pit.
Oh, right. Well, no, T, that's kind of the island solution. I mean, like, kind of this little kind of chase that... I mean, yeah, sure, I'm sorry, yes, yeah.
Yeah, they just lure the giants into a trap.
Right, because... Yes.
And they still have the snozcumbers and everything. Like, the snozcumbers are in the giant pit. So basically the only change here is that they airlift them to the island. That's, like, probably because it's more visual.
Well, I meant like the whole the dream plot of like we're gonna give them nightmares so that they feel guilty and stuff. That stuff I don't recall. In the book.
Oh no! Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's the climax actiony thing I'm talking about. In the anime film, they have the whole chase where basically it's like Sophie's being chased by flesh. Well, honestly, it's not even Flesh Eater because they have like two main giants. There's Flesh Eater in the beginning. With the one with the goofy mustache in the anime film, that's Flesh Eater, and they have like another big intimidating one that's kind of chasing Sophie at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really nice sentiment here. But essentially, what's kind of going on in this really.
You know what, Dragon? The more you're talking about it, like, yeah, I kind of agree. This maybe would have worked very nicely as like a Close Encounters or E.T. style ending.
Yeah, especially given the E.T. writer. But yes. Again, like this, and really, what's really nice about kind of what's said in the scene. It's about it's him basically explaining kind of what the Fizz wizard is. It's basically describes what the dream is. It's basically have like the human goal in life. It's like having a family, having a future, and it's so wonderfully said by Mark Rylance. The whole there's a little bit of despair, but that's all him breaking down what the components of the dream are. Because as we saw, he knows what goes in mixing that. It's all worth it in the end, though. And I think subtly what Rylance is playing is that's the realization that he can't keep Sophie here. I mean, he can visit her. He just can't keep her here because that's like she's living too much of a fantasy life instead of the real life that she dreams of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really nice sentiment. Real nice kind of payoff to the whole Sophie's dream thing.
Yeah.
Which does inform the very end when we get to it.
Sure.
I do love like all of them though. Again, while it doesn't look as spectacular as some of the other stuff, I love the logic that they're all like feeling super guilty. I mean, I love just kind of the Roald Dahl kind of come up and vibe I'm getting through all this.
It's a funny sort of like it's almost kind of like a Doctor Strange style defeat in a way.
In a way, yes, it's very much
obviously not exactly the same thing, but it's still sort of like defeating the villain through like mental cunning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that it's not like a violent, like we take down the bigger guy. It's like I just love how it feels so nice and kind of moral almost. It feels, you know, like I love the comeuppance for our giants, especially with the island thing, which we'll get to. Shortly. But, you know, and this is nice. Like again, he doesn't really fight him. He just kind of shoves him off here, and I love that when he has him, because again, he's way outclassed by this guy. He just holds him up there like a doll, and he tells him, "Look, flesh lump eater, it's over, boy. You know, it's time to start." He's trying to reason with them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah,
and it's really nice is that we don't have to see our beloved character get pummeled any. Really, like, you know, like fist to the face, because that may have killed him. I gotta go see that.
Wait a minute. So you'll say that the fist to the face will kill him?
I'm saying, all right,
God.
the point is like a point blank punch from that. I'm saying not. It's gonna keep laying into. I'm saying like,
plot mandated injury. Basically.
And this is honestly the only real kind of action climax we get here, where it's like, you know, just kind of running away from like basically all the chaos going on here, which is that's like all the climax really need. So I'm all in favor of this versus kind of like a big old drawn out chase.
Right.
It does feel a little thrown in there, but it's not really harmful.
Spielberg kind of working in some Saving Private Ryan stuff.
Oh god, if there was a version of Saving Private Ryan like this, and Tom Hanks was running away from giants,
Saving Private Ryan with giants, hell yes! Oh my God, sign me up.
And it's like basically like at the end, it's like one giant is holding Matt Damon.
Oh God,
you know, like King Kong holding the princess.
Oh man,
Tom Hanks and company going after him, taking him down.
Oh man, okay.
Hey, seriously, this is a really nice comeuppance.
Again, with the subtle acting on Rylance's part, he's just like, oh, just look of relief and happiness on his face right there.
So honestly, this comeuppance I think is a little better than the pit, because it's.
I think it is too.
They're being
also. Can I just call this island the Diet Coke version of Skellig?
What?
Of what?
Skellig Michael Island.
You mean Skelling?
Skellig, yes.
From Star Wars.
The island from the end of Force Awakens.
Okay, I got you.
Skellig Michael? You mean Skellig Michael?
Yeah, Skellig Michael, yeah, however you pronounce it.
I'm sorry, we've said Skelling just for short before. I said I was a little lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was Skellig. I don't know.
All right. Sure, yes. Yeah, it's really like, you know, like when they kind of land in the water, so it's like, of course, like driving a cat in water essentially. And then they're basically living out their days like the BFG was forced to live out. He has to eat this horrible snozcumbers all day. It was really bad for these guys because, you know, they eat, you know, human beings over the snozcumbers.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they're left with. And the fact there may or may not be like a food drive every now and again, but they have like tons and tons of seeds to hold them over for the rest of their lives. And it's like it's the ultimate comeuppance without being violent. That's awesome.
I kind of like how the last look we get of this guy is sort of just like accepting defeat, you know, just sitting down on the rock.
The look of defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that he's kind of also like subtly he's in a position where he would need to get in the water because he's all covered.
And also kind of like I like how he blends into the mountain as it pulls away.
Oh yeah, you're right. He does. It's cool.
Uh-huh.
Like the rest of the giants, he's fading into the scenery.
Exactly,
like the BFG was at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And it was all a dream.
I was just about to say, it just turned into freaking morning so fast.
It just turned into
But
St.
then I
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that she's like she adopted her or something. That'd be kind of nice.
I mean, Dragon. That's a pretty basic assumption to go on. I'd say you're correct.
Right.
What accent does he have now?
Yeah, she gets to live with the queen all day.
It would kind of be. It would kind of be, you know, stupid if she was like, "All right, we've had these adventures together. Go back to the orphanage. Bye."
Right.
Like that makes no freaking sense.
I'm sure she would have set her up with a family or something. She wouldn't have put her back in the home. So the fact that it's implied she gets to live with, you know, in the queen's place.
And I gotta say, guys, this ending monologue does get to me.
Yeah, it's
I remember tearing up a little in the theater when I saw it. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember that. I mean, one, I love that she mentions it here. Like, you know, when the idea, the dream that she can now have thanks to the big friendly giant is, you know, she can basically kind of see him all the time through the stream.
Mm-hmm.
like him living up alone on the island. He grows stuff better than Snoz, the Snoz Cumbers. And yeah, again, he's alone in peace when he can hear her, and they communicate almost like a walkie-talkie if they wanted to with the ear thing.
Right.
And it's really great. I love the fact that it's mentioned that he's now writing the book, and we see like it linger on page BFG, which implies he's absolutely writing the BFG book. I still do miss the idea. I understand why they changed it. I miss the idea that he had to live with her in the Queen's castle.
I like that they didn't do that though. You know why? Because I think it thematically fits in with the other Spielberg movies, specifically something like E.T.
Yes.
Where they form this really, really close friendship and bond with each other.
And then get ripped apart.
Exactly! And that's the end, and it's a fucking happy time for all, right?
I took from it I thought I saw it as like it's keeping a healthy divide. It's showing growth on that. They can exist without each other, but still keep each other in the other one's heart.
I hear you, and oh god, the acting on violence, the acting on violence.
This is kind of it feels very Pete Docter to me. It feels very much like Kitty in this moment.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
Seeing the beautiful acting.
Oh god, look at that man's face.
I mean, that is a big friendly giant right there.
All right.
I love the colors again.
I know. I like the colors.
I think that's my favorite part out of the whole movie, just to be blunt.
It's magic hour coloring. They have like that magic hour lighting, but put in the color.
Right. Exactly. Oh man. All right, guys. I gotta say, this is definitely. Oh shit, we're getting the Netflix skip thing.
Don't acknowledge it.
I gotta say, guys, this is probably my favorite Spielberg month that we've done, at least this year. Maybe not from last year, but at least this year's lineup so far. This was a really, really good conversation. I think we had a lot of fun. We got out our gripes, we got out our nitpicks, we kind of talked through some of the stuff we really like about it. I just thank you all for this. Was a really good commentary, I think. And
I had fun.
Yeah, and just in terms of my final thoughts on it, like I totally understand where everyone's coming down. As I said, I am very closely tied to the book. I'm a big Roald Dahl fan in general, and the book is one of my favorites of his. Mm-hmm. And so I am very attached to the language of the movie and the plot, and so I think I can totally see like people who aren't familiar with the dialect of the book probably aren't going to be as enamored with it as I was, because
agreed. Because I honestly didn't like it very much, but it's definitely not as bad as freaking Jurassic World shit.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a better movie than
definitely way better. But it didn't really.
Well, wait, Jurassic World or The Lost World? Is it better than Jurassic World?
The Lost World, I meant.
I think it's a better movie than Jurassic World.
By far. By far, which is what, like...
Sarah!
I feel like there's some movies where, movies like this where it feels kind of weird, but, you kind of, it really helps to read the book, where you have movies like Matilda, where you don't really need to read the book, you just watch the movie, have a good time.
Right.
It's just... I don't know. It doesn't fit well into the category of just going and enjoying it for me at least.
Well, it's a cute movie. It's a cute film. It has a nice meaning to it, and it all in all, it's not bad. It's just there were certain aspects of it that just weren't grasping. It's okay. There's so many ways that this movie could be better, but it's not a bad film in itself.
It's not Spielberg's
finest?
Yeah. But it's not Spielberg's worst either.
Exactly.
I mean, I still think it's better than stuff like, like The Lost World.
Exactly.
Established.
And I feel it was a good.
Also, it's way better than The Terminal.
Oh, come on!
That was just for you, Dragon. Just for you. Just for you.
I think this.
Trying to avoid that.
I feel like this was
You're
a good.
Prick, you know that.
And you don't know this about me through what, 4 years of? Yes, I'm a prick, obviously.
And he enjoys it, so.
I don't enjoy it, but my autism kind of makes me a prick. So tomato.
I think the Sandy's point.
I think this is a good first project for him and Disney to work on together.
Yeah, I agree. I just wish Disney actually like supported the damn movie.
Yeah.
Because Disney does this thing where they'll like fucking bury good movies and promote the
Sometimes for
hell.
big reasons.
Oh God.
It's actually more because of Finding Dory more than anything else.
No, you're right.
Like
You're
they
right
were-
about that, Jacob. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because California Adventure bookends, folks, bookends. With California Adventure, one of the theaters was playing a preview for Through the Looking Glass. The other theater was playing a preview for Finding Dory. I understand Finding Dory. Like, I totally understand that. But come on, man. You're gonna... Nobody. Jack shit. I was actually one of the few people on the internet who was like vaguely like, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to Through the Looking Glass, but I was like, it could be good. It could be good because they've got James Bobbitt in there. Like, I love the Muppet movies. Like, it was directed by the Muppet guy, right? The guy who did the Muppet Revival movie. So I'm like, it could be good. No, it was a shit movie, but
It was pretty bad.
but there was no hype for it at all. And this is a movie that could have generated hype if Disney would have actually like given it a chance to grow and to shine, you know? But they didn't. They really didn't. They just buried it.
Yeah.
They are all about the money.
I'm not hating on Moana because it's not a bad movie at all, but it seems like they promote movies like that. They're just,
To be honest with you, I'm kind of souring on Moana the more time has passed.
as I was saying, I feel like they completely just dump the bucket on movies like this, which are, you know,
and
they're not
Pete's
like-
Dragon. Pete's Dragon is another
Yeah,
movie from
yeah.
last year that was fucking amazing. That had that same sort of Spielbergian tone to it.
and
that-
That's not exactly.
that and movies like that.
Yeah, I did, Dre. Have you seen Pete's Dragon?
No, I haven't heard really good things from people I know who have seen it though.
So yes, it does have a Spielbergian tone. It really does. I love Pete's Dragon. It's way better than the original movie. I'll say that much.
Anyways, I think you guys know where I was going with this. It's just, you know, just promoting the heck out of movies like the Moana, which are just, you know, so much more generic with what Disney goes for. Where
Totally.
They're going for
That's
the
kind
animation
of
over the live action.
Whereas this is exactly the type of movie I want to see Disney do more of. I want to see Disney do more of these, like I said, the kind of like Don Bluthian, like late 80s, early 90s style films, which I think the BFG really, you know, fit into that sort of era very comfortably.
Yes.
Jacob, any final thoughts on your end?
No, not really. No.
All right. Dragon, final thoughts?
Well, on the whole, I thought it was really nice. It honors the source material amazingly. It's very much doing a Roald Dahl film. It feels very much, you know, like again, I think just kind of the right kind of creative force kind of aligned to make this. You know, again, it's kind of Spielberg kind of really diving into his whimsy through kind of like the excitement of like doing his first Disney movie, because that was his goal making this movie. He wanted to do kind of like, he always looked like, you know, doing like his own Bambi and Dumbo. It's kind of like his going into it. He's always kind of wanted to make with Disney, and that's why I believe, you know, bear in mind, he wasn't like the director on it, but you know, he was involved with Roger Rabbit. He was really excited about that project, and you got to remember the reason. Half the reason he started DreamWorks was to have his own Disney, because he had projects he would take. Sometimes,
Right.
I forget if he took Prince of Egypt to Disney. The point is, like, there are films. Prince of Egypt was his version of doing a Disney movie way back in the outset. That was. I'm saying that's why he got really excited over it.
That movie was arguably better than Disney movies of that era.
Well, I'm saying that's the point.
That
Like,
was a good movie.
It really was.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good movie.
Yeah.
All right.
What was it? I didn't hear. I
Prince of Egypt.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? Like, he's always kind of willing to make a Disney movie. We've had kind of like fill-ins for that over the years, and you have to have the foundation of like a third of the foundation of DreamWorks has been trying to kind of compete with DreamWorks, you know, compete with Disney in many respects. And again, the end result here is just that all things align. Again, it's kind of nice to see kind of another Roald Dahl work kind of adapted. And again, whether he just, of course, the guy who created it is always going to have like his own opinion. Like, many times creators won't like any adaptation. Like, you know, Alan Moore, for example, he never likes anything that's adapted.
Oh, God.
But you know, again, like, it really
Alan Moore's a literal warlock.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, we have, like, Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory, and that's, like, for me, like, I'm going to go Willy Wonka over this, but that's an unfair comparison. It's like, it's like various different things. Again, they don't really line up in the creator's eyes all the time, but this, based on the fond memories, again, it's been many years. This had, like, fond memories from the animated film, and this captured it and kind of plussed it. And again, while not perfect, few things I would have liked to see could have trimmed for time. Not many things though, because again, just it flows so nice and concisely, even though it's almost 2 hours.
Yep. All right,
it was
folks.
way better than I thought it was going to be. It was really good.
So stay tuned. We have one more Spielberg month selection for you this year. It's to kind of like transition from June into July. We're going to be talking about arguably the most patriotic film of Spielberg's entire filmography, except maybe Lincoln. I don't know. It's certainly more well received than Lincoln is.
Yes.
Saving Private Ryan, which I've never seen.
What?
Violence.
What? You've never seen Saving? Okay.
I've never seen Saving Private Ryan.
You will not be disappointed.
I don't like war movies. I know we've already had this conversation
Well,
again.
we have.
Yeah.
But I really like that movie. So
I only assumed you had because I told you I watched it on Memorial Day. And you were like, "Oh, really? Wow!" Like it's a, you know.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I've seen clips. Like I've seen the opening sequence in film class, but.
yeah, I'm not a big war person either. So I think you'll actually.
Yeah, like I'm really not looking forward to Dunkirk.
Understood.
Anyways. Okay, so yes, Saving Private Ryan. Transitioning from June to God help us the Christmas festivities in July. All right.
Wow.
Da, 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 da.
Really good.
Sarah.